Tonight is a little bit different, Canes fans. There's nothing going on the football field for anybody to stress out about. Not Greg, not Kane, not BK Hurricane. Nobody should be stressed out tonight after the way that the Miami Hurricanes looked on Saturday against NC State. Perhaps the most complete performance of the entire season. And I'll include those Notre Dame and Florida games in there because Miami didn't play a complete 4 quarters against those guys. They played a pretty darn good few quarters. But this was a 4-quarter absolute butt whipping where NC State looked really, really bad. But a lot of that might have been due to how good the Hurricanes were on that day because NC State was a team that in its previous game had put up 45 points in beating first place and likely college football playoff bound Georgia Tech and giving them their only loss of the season. The offense was absolutely dynamic. It was imaginative, and success followed. The defense was as dominant as it could possibly be, and Miami was once again looking like one of the most complete teams in the country. Even Paul Feinbaum, of all people, today was calling Miami the best team in the country. Imagine that one. But now eyes are in the direction of the decision makers at the controls of which teams are going to be invited to the college football playoff. And tonight, as we begin this new edition of CaneSport Live, it's all about the rankings and what that college football playoff committee is doing right now as we sit here, as it winds down its weekly meeting and gets ready to announce its new rankings. And obviously a lot of intrigue about where the Hurricanes are going to be in that. And it seems like, college football pundits everywhere are rallying behind the Hurricanes in this situation. Unfortunately, the Canes need the help because of what happened in the Louisville and SMU games. But even the ACC itself is actively campaigning for Miami, who somehow do have 2 losses while looking like, without question, the best team in the conference this season. So we're going to get the results in a few minutes. We're going to break it all down. Matt Shodell will be monitoring it as we go along here. But hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, and we welcome you once again to CaneSport Live. As usual, this is your show. It's going to be driven by your participation. Many of our guests tonight have pre-registered with us to be on the show. If you want to come on the show and you have not pre-registered, you see the information scrolling on the bottom of the screen. All you got to do is shoot us an email at canesport@yahoo.com. We will get you the studio information, and you can come and join the party. So as always, our managing editor at CaneSport, Matt Shodell, is going to be joining me in the first hour of the show, and then the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner, will be coming on in hour number 2. So let's get things started now with wit and wisdom of our resident rankingsologist, I'm going to call him tonight, because he has been studying this thing for like literally 3 days. And it's funny as hell. It doesn't matter with the hour of the day. My phone will suddenly ring, and it'll be Matt on the other side with some new revelation that he figured out as he's crunching these rankings going in all directions. I'd be like, Matt, calm down. Like, nothing matters really for 2 more weeks. But we're going to find out what these people are thinking Tuesday, and he'll have broken down another possibility. So he's got it figured out from every direction. So if anybody has any questions about rankings, Matt will definitely be our go-to guy tonight. And so let's go ahead and just get things started by bringing Matt to the table here. And what's the committee going to do tonight, Matt? What will they elevate Miami enough so that in the end, the head-to-head victory over Notre Dame actually matters like it really did happen? Where do teams like Oklahoma and Alabama come out in this thing? I see a lot of similar resumes, and I see one team owning a true signature win among all of these teams in question. That's the Miami Hurricanes, who beat Notre Dame. What do you think, Matt?
So excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Look, there's 10 teams right now that are in really good position to be in the playoffs, right? That are all, as of the last poll, ranked quite ahead of Miami. Ohio, I think everyone would agree that 9 of the 10 are probably going to finish ahead of Miami. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, unless their coach leaves, and Oregon. It's hard to imagine Miami being ahead of any of those 9 teams. You agree? At this point,
did you include Utah in there?
No. I'm talking about the teams that I think are basically.
Then I agree.
Yeah. Those 9 teams, it's going to be hard to imagine them losing another game when they're playing really well and they're not playing anybody else, and they don't get punished for losing conference title games. Like, that's what the committee's always said. So that's 9 teams. Okay, I'm not including Notre Dame. You notice that? Okay, so those 9, I think everyone would agree, are probably going to be in the playoffs. Like, hard to imagine them not at this point. Now you have the ACC champion and a Power 5 team. So that's 11 teams, which leaves 1 spot left. And Miami's making the argument we should be there instead of Notre Dame. So let's say, does Miami jump up from 14th to 7th or 8th? If the committee says, okay, Miami's in ahead, or does Notre Dame fall below Miami because Notre Dame lost to Miami? If the committee says Notre Dame falls below Miami, and this is the Miami argument, right? We are better than Notre Dame. The committee might say, okay, fine, we're going to move Notre Dame below you. Well, now guess what? The last spot's going to Utah or Vanderbilt, probably, as we sit here right now. Utah, I think they're not going to certainly move them below Miami, and Vanderbilt had a bye. But Utah's playing 2 terrible teams the last 2 games and will not be in their conference title game. So all these Miami fans were like, Notre Dame. We should be saying Utah. Because if Utah's the 10th team after those 9 that we already talked about ahead of Miami, then you have a problem. And Utah has no real quality wins. Utah shouldn't be ahead of Miami, but they are. So everyone's focused on Notre Dame, Miami head-to-head. What fans should also be saying is it's not just a one-tiered thing, right? Because if fans are saying Notre Dame should be below us, I don't think fans are saying Miami should be 8th. They certainly don't belong 8th, okay? They're saying Notre Dame's overrated. Notre Dame shouldn't be that high. Notre Dame should be below us because we beat them head-to-head. So they're saying put Notre Dame 15th if Miami's 14th, 14th if Miami's 13th, right? Somewhere in there, right? If Notre Dame falls below Miami, I think Miami would be 13th. But you still have a tough road, Miami fans, if they're going to keep Utah ahead of us, because Utah's not going to lose these next 2 games. They're favored by 34.5 this week. They have another easy game after that. And so, it's frustrating because I think the best chance Miami has is to win the ACC. And to do that, you need to have two teams lose games that are both favored this week. Not by much, but they're both favored. They both have to lose those games, or it's not going to happen. Like, Virginia's not losing a Virginia Tech
game. So everybody knows that is
Georgia Tech has to lose, and SMU has to lose to Pittsburgh. Yeah, Georgia Tech has to lose to Louisville, and SMU has to lose to Pittsburgh. I assume Virginia is going to beat Virginia Tech in its last game. I mean, Virginia Tech has gone off the deep end bad. They have no coach. One of their top receivers literally walked off the field before the game, or walked off campus before the game last weekend. I mean, they're just a disaster of a program. So you're hoping both those results happen. And if they don't, if Georgia Tech wins, that's it. It's over. In my opinion, Virginia Tech's not going to win in the final weekend of the season against Virginia. So
well, you mentioned Utah, and yeah, that's all applicable. But the truth of the matter is that's why this ranking that's coming out here in minutes tonight is so important. And with Miami looking as good as it looked on Saturday, the committee, if they should choose to take the opportunity, has an opportunity to say, you know what, we rank Miami too low. And bump the Canes up enough to where now they're in the mix with Notre Dame and Utah, and the committee is more positioned to make better decisions as it goes forward here in the coming weeks. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here.
And by the way, you said Paul Feinbaum said Miami was the best team in the country, which he said. Everyone seems to think he meant the ACC, because obviously Miami's not the best team in the country. That's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah,
I mean, even Miami fans wouldn't say that. So I'm sure he
maybe meant ACC, but he said country. Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm watching this whole mess, okay, and I'm thinking to myself.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't even mention this, by the way. And if BYU beats Texas Tech in the conference title game, it doesn't even matter because that's another team. Now Miami's out anyway, right? There's so many things.
Okay, stop making it more complicated than what it already is.
You know me, I like to interrupt you. If I can interrupt you, I will.
Getting ready to say here is that, you watch all this nonsense that's going on. Imagine being a kid watching all these adults like make a mockery of college football. Okay, and that's why to kick things off here on the show tonight, I'm going to Sergio and his kids, and hoping that Sergio and the kids can make some sense to what is going on in college football, because I think it's totally ridiculous. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hello.
What's good, man? Give us your what do you think about all this craziness that's going on in college football?
How bad did you kids misbehave that your dad's forcing you to be on this show? I don't know what you did, but it was really, really bad. And you should really apologize to your father.
I think they're just gonna sit here and just listen here. But I tell you what, I took them to their first game. We went to the Stanford game. That was a lot of fun for them. Usually I take them just to the spring game. Because remember when we were bad, I had to bring them to a game that Miami would win. So surely the spring game was it. And it was a better experience. I was afraid fans wouldn't be as crazy. But now we're not even allowed to go to spring games. So I'm forced to bring them to a game. And Stanford was the first one for them. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, as a dad, how do you explain to them all the uncertainty and everything about what's going on here in terms of, the college football playoff and why you would put a team that Miami beat 10 spots ahead of it in a ranking?
Well, I tell you what, it's hard to explain any of this to anybody. But I was listening to your CaneSport Live, was it a couple days ago, and Matt was talking about just even maybe the losses, the weight of the committee's decision was on the losses. And it made sense to me. I mean, the media's all over Miami's or Mario's November terrible, record. So as soon as you lose, just like the Canes fans did, we're like, oh, here we go again. The media's been blaring that the whole time. So they that probably influenced the committee more than anything. I don't know, but we'll see where it goes. All I know is this: they played really well the last game. The offense looked dynamic, and I know Mario's not supposed to meddle, but he had to. Mario had a medal to make the offense dynamic. You see how I think I'm all thinking positive. Mario's not slowing anything down. He is the one. He is the one.
The offense has obviously been a big topic of conversation, and to me, it looked totally different. Like I understand that you have an offense and you have all these plays in there, and you're not like reinventing the playbook in the month of November, but Shannon Dawson is using the plays that he has differently than he was earlier in the season. There's no question about it. He's not crazy about the subject. He made that pretty obvious when I asked him about it at this week's press conference. But it had a massively different look to it just because he's sprinkling in the trick plays. He's using formations to, I guess, get the defense thinking a little too much and making them a little bit more tentative. And then you inject Gerard Pringle carrying the ball 17 times. And that extra element of speed seemed to really make a difference in the success of the running game this past week. So, no, it wasn't an entirely new playbook, but Sergio, I think you and the kids would agree that it was a very, very more polished looking offense that we've seen the last, I guess, 6 quarters.
Absolutely. Everyone looks disciplined. They're not having these ridiculous penalties. There's some penalties in there, and that's football, but it was just crazy during the losses, and even the ones that we were winning, we were getting so many penalties. So that seems to be tapered off. Maybe it was the pressure, but we definitely look explosive. I would even take it back the week before North Carolina. All the new guys that got in, number 15, Upshaw, Pringle was one of that. Those guys lit a fire. Like they went there, like I want something. I want to, make a name for myself. And they went in, and that's really good. A couple of points here on. I like Shannon Dawson. I don't want to get rid of him. He's capable. We continue to get good players. Like I know we got a superb tight end to commit recently, and there's a slew of other guys that could flip as well. So, I mean, the roster is just going to be good. My oldest son, who's afraid to come on here, his name is Joaquin, And yeah, Joaquin said dominate. But my oldest son asked me, he goes, "Who do you let go? Do you let go, Fletcher and the running backs? How the way it is stacked. Who if they leave, what do you do?"
I think Jordan Lyle is going to be headed to the portal. I really do. He didn't play last game. I think there was a reason behind that. I think he's going to be headed to the portal. I think you're absolutely right. Somebody's got to go. Like, you can't have Fletcher, Marty Brown, Pringle, and then you're bringing in freshmen into the equation, and it's too loaded, and you can't pay everybody.
Can't pay everybody. Would you pay Bell to come back?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely would.
How about this?
I'm not sure. I got to look into his draft status and see what makes sense for him. But yes, you absolutely would pay him to come back. You'd put him at left tackle and you put Jackson Cantwell at right, and you're in a good place.
What do you think about quarterback? Like, I know we go shopping and we try to get the best ones, and it's great. And I think Carson was good, except for that one game. I'm all right with a game manager within the the game plan. But what do you think about this year? Do you think our backups have enough, or is you got to bring someone anyways to compete with them?
Well, I know Matt has pretty strong opinions about this, but like, I think with the way the new system is, I don't know that since he's an older guy, third-year guy now, that Emory Williams can afford to stay and compete against Luke Nickel and a transfer portal guy that they must go get the best they can get in the portal. Like that, it would be malpractice to not do that. You have to go get the best you can get in the portal, and you'll deal with it if Nickel or Emory is distinctly better than that guy. I don't know if Emory Williams can afford to stay with the new rules, because if he stays and he goes through spring practice and doesn't win the job, and now he's stuck being the backup for a fourth season in college football, I guess he'd have 1 year left, but I don't know. What do you think, Matt? What do you think happens with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think Emory leaves. I think Judd leaves. I think a lot of quarterbacks around the country are going to leave their programs, or at least be in the portal.
Judd doesn't have to leave yet.
No, but
he's still young. He's a redshirt freshman.
I didn't say he has to. I said I think he will.
He can stay. He's a redshirt freshman, but Emory is a redshirt sophomore.
All right, you asked me a question. You want me to answer it or
I
not?
know, but I'm just throwing it out to you that Judd's still young, Matt.
The reason I think Judd Anderson leaves is because he was already passed on the depth chart by a guy who's in a class below him. So, his future at Miami doesn't seem real bright right now, okay? He can get a fresh start somewhere else. In terms of Emory, so the issue, and Gary touched on it, but he didn't really explain it. So the new system is there's 1 2-week transfer portal window now. There's no second portal window. Graduates can no longer go into and transfer whenever they want to. They can't transfer at all. They have to go in that 2 weeks, right? So you have January 2nd to January 16th or something like that to go into the portal. And you can stay in the portal as long as you want, but that's it, right? Once that date hits and ends, you're done unless you happen to be in the playoffs. Then you have an extra 3 days, 2-3 days after that or something like that. So the point is, let's say Emory Williams stays and it's January 17th. He can no longer go in the portal for the rest of the year. He's stuck at Miami just like the old days. He cannot go anywhere. It's January 17th. Miami on January 18th says, we just signed the top quarterback in the portal. We're so excited. Normally, Emory would have a second window to transfer in because he's not going to play. He has 1 year left after that. It's a disaster for him personally, right? If he has aspirations of playing in the NFL and making a splash somewhere else, getting a head start somewhere, right? You transfer somewhere for 1 year. Now you have to learn a new system. You have to get that coach to like you when you have no resume. And that's the problem. That's why Emory probably has to go into the portal, because I feel fairly certain Miami is going to chase and get a top portal quarterback. They need to. They have to. It would be malpractice not to. And so I don't think Emory has a choice, because, again, January 17th hits or 18th, whenever that window ends, he's just stuck. He's just stuck. And he could always go into the portal, weigh his options, and come back before spring practice or I guess before the enrollment date would be in August at that point, because the enrollment at Miami is in January. So you have to be enrolled to do a spring practice. But I just don't know. It's a really difficult situation. The NCAA has really screwed the whole thing up. It's made the programs the power again, and the players have no power again. It's sort of how it used to be. Actually, it's even worse than it used to be because in the old days, graduate seniors could transfer. A graduate senior could transfer whenever he wanted to in the old days, even in the old system. Now they can't even do that. I would argue this system's worse for players than it was before free agency, before the portal. It's terrible for players. They're going to be stuck at programs they don't want to be at. And that's the challenge for Mario, is to make sure he winds up with players who are not locker room cancers because they got stuck and they thought they were going to start, but then Miami took transfers at their position, right? Because Miami took 22 transfers this year, 16 last year, whatever it is. They've averaged 12 to 14 ever since Mario's been here. And a lot of them come in the second portal window. And now Mario has to get them all in the first portal window. So it's going to be a massive challenge. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out.
You know what else is interesting is what the committee picks Miami to be. So I'm going to put you guys there on your little betting hats. What do you think they'll rank Miami tonight?
I know what they're going to rank Miami. No, I don't know, but I'm fairly confident that the committee does not like Miami and will have them 14th. I mean, the coaches had them 15th because they hate Mario, I guess. The AP has Miami 14th. Based on the last CFP poll, Miami should be 14th. There's only one team that lost ahead of them is going to fall below them, in my opinion. The committee's going to make them 14th, which is ridiculous. And if they're 14th, to me, it's game over because you've got to pass 4 other teams in 2 weeks, and good luck with that. Fans are like, oh, well, maybe Alabama will lose. Well, that's one team. You need 4 teams ahead of you to lose at that point. Miami needs to be 12th. Miami should probably be 12th, and I think the committee's going to screw them.
All right. Well, Sergio, thanks for getting us going, man.
Well, Gary, he wants to know your prediction. You never make predictions. What number's Miami going to be in the poll today, Gary?
I think they're going to fix it. I'll say 12. I'll say 12.
All right. That's what they should be. They should be 12th.
All right.
I'll say 12. I think they're going to take the opportunity to fix it because you can't wait too many more weeks to do it. And you have a built-in excuse here. Miami's looked very good the last 6 quarters. Miami's back to playing the way they were early in the year, and they were the number 2 team in the country, and now we're bumping them up because they deserve to be bumped, and that's all those things. And there's nobody that's going to quit
no matter what. They take the hit no matter what. If they don't bump them up, or they'll
take a bigger hit if they don't.
Gary, are you putting them ahead of Notre Dame, or you're just putting them ahead of Utah and Vandy?
Utah and Vandy.
Okay.
Yeah,
but then they're so close with Notre Dame. Why aren't you putting them ahead of Notre Dame?
Because that'll come later. That decision.
That's later. Oh, okay, that's much later.
If you get them within 1 or 2 spots of each other, you can make that last move later. You can wait and see how these last couple weeks play out. So, Sebastian's saying, "Baby, Matt will be right."
No, they should look. They should be 12. I agree with Gary, but they won't be.
Baby, Matt will be right. We'll get back to you in a minute, Sebastian. All right, Sergio and guys, thank you so much for getting us started here tonight. Hey guys, don't be so quiet when you come on the show. I mean, this is a wild and crazy show, man. I know you guys, when you're hanging out at home, you're bouncing off the walls. You're probably throwing things all over the house. You're driving your dad crazy. And then you come on CaneSport Live and you just sit there like statues.
This is your chance to be to get some social media clout, guys. Don't you want clout?
Yeah, raise the roof.
They're like, we don't want clout. We don't want clout.
All right, guys. Thanks, Sergio.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Man, those kids if they're really that well behaved all the time.
I mean, that's incredible. My kids, no chance.
That was all right, listen. If the committee doesn't do what I say they're going to do, there's only one. I mean, everyone in the country is already lobbying for Miami. There's only going to be one thing left to do if the committee doesn't get the job done the way we think they should tonight. You know what that is, Matt?
Change the system.
No. I'm going to send Greg after them. Where are you, Greg? Turn on the damn microphone. Get on here. If this committee screws this up tonight, they're yours. I'm going to serve them up to you on a platter.
Okay. I got it. Matt, what happens if Oregon loses this week?
That's a great question. I think Oregon would fall below Miami if they lose. Yeah.
Okay. There's another one.
Who do they play?
USC.
Yeah, but Greg, the problem is then you get this concern that USC jumps ahead of Miami because Miami's not playing anybody. But it's sort of that's going to be an issue that will be debated for a long time. Because if USC does beat Oregon, I don't know that it helps Miami. I don't know. USC is pretty close with Miami as it is, right? And then you get this massive win for them. Miami's playing terrible team, and then Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, Pittsburgh wasn't competitive with Notre Dame and lost their top running back in the process. So, now that game's not going to have as much clout either. It's not. If Miami's not 12th, again, if Miami's not 12th in this poll tonight, it's a tough task to be 14th. Even if Oregon loses, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be tough. I mean, I don't know how many other ways to say it, because forget Oregon. What are the three other teams, Greg? What are the three other teams that are going to lose? In the next 2 weeks that are really good.
Okay, BYU's going to get smoked by Texas Tech.
I'm not including BYU. I'm just putting Utah. All I'm saying is Utah. BYU is going to either lose their conference title game, Greg, or they're going to win their conference title game, right? If they lose the conference title game to Texas Tech, they're going to be below Miami anyway. If they win their conference title, it doesn't matter if they lose the next game because they're going to be an automatic seed. You see what I'm saying? So BYU, it's either they're in or they're not, but it has nothing to do with Miami. They're not going to fall below or above Miami. They're already below Miami.
BYU's below Miami?
BYU is below Miami, not in the rankings, but they're below Miami in the sense that they will either lose or win their conference title game. Therefore, they're going to be below Miami. Yeah. If they lose their conference title game, they're going to be below Miami. Yeah. I'm not worried about BYU.
All right. By the way, Matt, how'd that dangerous team, NC State, look this week? The team you were worried about.
I know. Somebody asked me on the message board, what's your prediction for the game? I said, if Miami plays well, they win by 4 touchdowns. So that means they're going to win by 1 touchdown. They played
for weeks. You've been saying they were the sleeper team.
I know.
Okay, let's forget it.
And by the way, NC State was terrible, but Miami, give Miami credit. Miami played the best game I've seen them play in years against a decent team. That was a decent offense.
Miami played unbelievable. Too bad they didn't play.
I mean, if you want to sit there and pretend I was wrong that NC State has a really good offense, that wasn't NC State's really good offense. That was Miami's defense dominating. That was
NC State played 2 good teams this year, Notre Dame and Miami, and scored 2 touchdowns total.
Yeah. And they beat Georgia Tech. They beat Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I know they did. So forget that.
The Notre Dame game was 10-7 at halftime.
Right. Okay, so maybe they should bring that up in the committee meetings. Okay. Now, Matt, we're 27th in scoring offense and 7th in scoring defense. Shouldn't that be enough to make the playoffs?
So that's interesting you say that, okay? The issue, Miami's 69th in rushing offense, right? And
Correct.
and so they're 23rd in passing offense or something like
27th.
27th, yeah. So the defense is carrying this team. And what I always say is you want Miami to be top 20 in both. When Miami's top 20 in both, you're rolling. Last year, remember how bad the defense was, Greg, last year? That defense finished ranked in the top 20 in rush defense and top 30 in total defense. It's not good enough. You need to be top 20.
Not in scoring defense. They weren't up there.
No, they weren't in scoring defense, but in total defense. But yeah, they were 70th in scoring defense, right? And they were like 27th in total defense.
Right.
Usually that goes hand in hand to some extent, and last year it did not, obviously. But yeah, to me, the defense has been really good. I said they could be I thought they'd be a top 15, top 20 defense. They're even better than I thought, the defense.
They're 7th.
And the offense has been like inconsistently good, right? Like the numbers you're referring to, they put up a ton of yards and points against some teams, but in their 2 losses, there were 6 interceptions. It was stops and starts. The second halves of a couple of games have been good. First halves of a couple of games have been terrible. They're just totally inconsistent on offense. And I love to look at numbers, and obviously you do too. But this is a team that has fake numbers. Because when you're in the ACC this year, you can't afford to lose 2 games, apparently. And they could be number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense. And I would say, oh my God, they're going to be national champions. But they could be number 1 in offense because they're scoring 50-plus points against a bunch of crap ACC teams in Bethune. And they could be losing, to the 2 teams that they shouldn't be losing to, which is what happened, by the way, right? So, the numbers are a little weird this year for Miami. A little weird.
Okay.
On offense.
So let me ask you something. If Georgia Tech loses to Pittsburgh and SMU loses to Louisville, are
Yes.
we in? Do we make the ACC title game or not?
Yeah. Every scenario that I think I've seen would be a yes. The only thing I haven't looked at is if yeah, I'm pretty sure because they would win even with Duke in there or not in there. Yeah, from what I looked at the other day, I believe that is the formula. Yeah.
Okay, so it's conceivable that Georgia
Tech Miami has to win out. Obviously, Miami has to beat Pittsburgh. Obviously,
right, I know that.
Yeah.
It's conceivable Georgia Tech can get in, and Wake Forest got screwed in that game against Georgia Tech, and we got hosed against SMU with those ridiculous calls. I don't know if these committee members look at that stuff. But anyway,
Greg, I have this thing that somebody created. You were saying that if Louisville beats SMU,
right?
Okay,
and if Georgia Tech loses to Pittsburgh, they'll have like 4 teams with 2 losses to get the second spot.
Yeah, then Miami becomes the 3 seed. It looks like.
No, that's true.
Duke would have to lose again, I think.
I don't think that's true. Let me take a quick look also.
Yeah, take a look at that thing, Matt. Because yeah, Duke plays North Carolina this week. They're gonna win.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Oh, Duke, maybe not. Duke's pretty bad.
I don't know about that. Duke's 5-5.
Yeah, but North Carolina's terrible.
All right, so we're gonna put in. So we're putting in this week. We're putting in Georgia Tech loses to Pitt. And Duke's going to win is what we're saying against UNC, right?
Yeah, the game that Duke, I think Duke's going to lose is their game at Wake Forest.
So if Duke wins both games, and if Louisville beats SMU, and if Pitt beats Georgia Tech, and Duke wins both games, let me see if Duke affects it at all. Hold on a sec. And then Virginia's going to beat Virginia Tech. All right, let's see. Yeah, you're right, Gary. Sorry, I was wrong. Yeah, Duke needs to be involved in the tie. Yeah.
But what does Duke have to do? Win?
If Duke wins both games, they're in ahead of Miami in that scenario, unfortunately.
That would be insane, but it could happen. But Duke plays at Wake Forest their last game. I could see Wake Forest winning that game.
Yeah.
So
okay.
All right, but Greg, here's the bottom line, okay? So if this committee screws this up tonight, you're going to be our designated rebel, okay? And we're gonna somehow, some way get you on that conference call next week. So when we do this, I want you to rehearse for us right now. What are you going to say to this committee if they continue to leave Miami out of the mix?
What the hell am I going to say?
Well, you yell at Matt.
What are you looking at?
You yell at Matt every week. You're going to go soft on the committee?
What?
You yell at Matt every week. You're going to go soft on the damn.
I'm not going to yell now. But listen, before I get off, I just want to mention something about basketball. You said you went to the scrimmage and said, "Oh, this team looks unbelievably big. We look like shrimps against Florida the other night."
I agree. I couldn't believe it. But yes, that will be the last team they look like shrimps against.
We have a bunch. Gary, we have a bunch of bricklayers. We have no shooting, okay?
Yeah. Well, they haven't tried to shoot from intermediate at all. So you might be right, you might be wrong. It would be nice to see them start trying to do that. You know?
Yeah, they're going to have to get a little bit more variety to the offense.
I've never seen teams with all layups and 3-pointers and no other offense that they run. It's unbelievable.
He's going to have to change the rotation a little bit. The problem is it's going to upset people when he does it. So it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates this. But he can't have an entire starting lineup of non-shooters. Like,
yeah.
His
True Washington can shoot, but he needs another shooter on the floor.
His 2 guards last year hit 69 and 63% from the line. Yeah, that ain't going to cut it.
No. It's not going to cut it. They've got guys on the roster.
Who can shoot on the roster?
Timo, the Slovakian kid, he can shoot.
Can he do anything else?
He's not going to be as good on defense as some of those other guys, but they may have to give up a little bit of defense to get a little bit more shooting on the floor. They can't. They just don't have enough shooting on the floor with that starting lineup. The true Washington, the kid can shoot, but Trey Donaldson's taken way too many shots. He's not good enough to take 20 shots. I'm sorry.
And this Uday kid is going to be a massive problem late in games where if Miami's up by 3, 4, 5 points, they're just going to foul the hell out of that kid all day long. He had 40% his freshman year from free throws. He's never been above 60% his whole life. I mean, that's a disaster waiting to happen too, So
yeah, so they've got some issues that they got to work through. But Florida is one of the best teams in the country, Greg. Come on, I mean they're pretty damn good, and for a team that never played together to have to go on the road, essentially it was a road game, and play Florida. I mean, they hung in there for a while. They played hard. The interesting thing will be Thanksgiving when they play BYU. We'll see how they do against those guys.
Oh, by the way, it's going to be 63 degrees in Virginia Tech this week, so I don't want to hear any excuses about the cold.
63 is cold.
48-3 final. That's what I expect against that crap Virginia
All right,
Tech.
Greg. But
Okay.
save the anger for the committee, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye, Gregory. Always a pleasure.
All right, Greg. Good
Have a
seeing you this
wonderful
week.
night.
All right, Sebastian.
48-3. I thought he was talking about my IQ and your IQ for a minute there.
Sebastian says just when maybe baby and Matt will be right. Matt will be right about what, Sebastian?
Matt started the year saying that he think we were going to be a 10-2 team
In the playoffs.
and in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if we win the 2 games,
They lost the wrong 2 games, I'll tell you that.
All this rankings and conversation and what is nonsense. Just go to Virginia Tech and win. Just beat Pittsburgh, and at the end of the season, the body of work, I think, will just speak for itself. And look, I think all the rules will be broken. The SEC biases and all these other teams that need to be there. And Notre Dame, those fans will just be sad because they won't get in over Miami. But I just don't want us to get caught up in all this playoff talk and all this stuff. And it's irrelevant. I hope what Mario's telling the team is earn the right to have that conversation. That's all you got to do. Just earn the right to have that conversation. And Matt, if we win the next 2 games, we're 10-2. We're in the playoff. You'll be right.
I mean,
all that you took this year is.
It's too late, Sebastian. I already undid my prediction so many times and redid it. Too late. It's not going to count anyway. But thanks for the thought.
But what I'm afraid of is we can't believe we could lose to Virginia Tech or we could lose to Pittsburgh. That's what I'm concerned about. I just want them to just go out there and just play ball, and just win every play. And then at the end of the year, if we're 10-2, I think this is a whole different conversation. That's just my own personal feelings. Now I will tell you, I didn't expect us to look as good as we did against NC State. I was really, really concerned about them.
Well, they were back to being the team they were early in the year.
Yeah, and then when we lost Scott, I was like, but what this showed me was there's a lot of talent on this team. There's a lot of talent on the team than it was 3 years ago. Because I saw kids in the 4th quarter that I think can play. There's a reason why they're not playing, but they can play. And I understand that, the game was out of reach and maybe the other team's not motivated, but I just think we have some talent on the team. Now, I'm excited about this recruit we got tonight, this tight end.
He's an interesting looking player, isn't he? He plays quarterback and just like runs over people. I mean, occasionally they'll put him in
Miami. I can see Shannon Dawson calling plays for him around the Wildcat, the tush push, all that stuff. That's what I foresee. But recruiting a player like that told me a lot about Mario in regards of how he's building the team. Because I think he understands what the team is lacking. Like we are lacking I forgot what the tight end was last year that was real good in blocking.
Arroyo.
No, not the Roy, the other guy. The
Cam
that was there for
Cam
5
McCormick
years.
wasn't real good at blocking.
You didn't think he was good at blocking?
He was average.
He was okay. Yeah.
Well, Arroyo was. I know he was a good blocker, but I don't think we have that type of player. I was excited to see Elijah Lawson catch a touchdown pass because, I mean, if we're going to do anything in the playoffs, we need to be clicking on all cylinders, kind of moving forward, being able to do that. What's all this talk about us trying to recruit a quarterback out the transfer portal? Is that real?
You have to, like, you don't have anybody on the roster that's ever started a game. And yeah, I mean, maybe they think Luke Nickel is going to be the best guy. Maybe they think Emory Williams is going to be the best guy. I don't know, but you got to bring in the best quarterback you could find in the portal to come in and compete with them. And like we talked about earlier in the show, the next question is Emory Williams as the older guy. Now, Judd Anderson, Matt thinks Judd Anderson may go in the portal too, but the guy that really has a decision to make is Emory Williams because he's a third-year player, and he has no guarantees that he's going to be the quarterback next year. And he's got to decide, am I willing to stay at Miami another year and take the chance that I'm not going to be the dude? And I don't know.
I think, but I hope it's an honest conversation with the staff at Miami.
They'll be honest, I think.
I don't think he needs to grind it out in spring practice and fall practice just to get the decision that he's not going to be the starting quarterback, and he's lost that opportunity to kind of go elsewhere. I think he brings a lot of value to the team. I think he has talent, but I don't know if Miami is sold that he is the – they're going to have I think they're going to have a good team next year. I don't know if they're going to have as good a team as they've had the last 2 years. I think they're going to have a good enough team that's going to be able to compete for the ACC. And if they are going to have that type of a team, they're going to they want to know where they're at with their quarterback. And I just think these young guys need a chance. They need a shot. Like, I don't understand why we were blowing teams out in the beginning of the season and they weren't playing these guys. Maybe you're trying to hone your offense and stuff, but not letting these guys play, I thought was just a real misfortune for them. I mean, missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, early in the year, I get it. You're trying to get your team gelled together. But, you know, what's annoying is, like, Miami put together a great offense last year in the portal, and this year they put together a great defense in the portal. If they had just done both in the same year, we'd win a national title. Like, I get it. It's nice to be in the playoffs and maybe win a first-round game or whatever, but, like, no one's kidding themselves. We're probably not going to win the national title this year anyway. But, like, if they had done that, if they had put those two together somehow and figured it out and realized a year earlier that their secondary sucked and maybe their system sucked or whatever, like, it's just annoying that it seems they're always just a little bit off. You know, for 20 years, they've had great offenses one year and great defenses one year, but they've never been able to mesh them together in the same year, and it's just super annoying.
They got to get to the playoffs, though, man.
I know. I understand. But I got no problem making the playoffs and winning the national championship that year too, though. You know,
I do. I understand.
That's sort of what we do.
But I want them to be in the playoffs so they understand what it's like to be under the big lights playing in that type, and for them to understand what it takes. Because even teams that make it to the playoff, it took Georgia a while to figure out how to win, and they were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I just think Miami needs to kind of get there because it'll keep the train kind of moving on the tracks. How are we looking health-wise going into the Virginia Tech game?
Better. I mean, Scott's going to be out for the rest of the season, but Fletcher should be back. OJ Frederick might be back. C.J. Daniels will be back. So, you know, they're getting healthier.
Yeah, but let me just take you guys back for a minute to the subject we were just talking about. Like, don't you sit here now after week 10 thinking to yourself, like, maybe some bullets have been left in the holster on offense? I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely. To me, I don't know if you rewind the clip a couple of weeks. I told you the loss we had, we needed that. We needed that loss because I think it was the loss to SMU. The loss to SMU exposed the idea that, you know what? Why didn't we give Gerard Pringle a shot? Like what was holding them back? I mean, it wasn't the pass offense. I mean, teams have gotten so good at scheming us up that it didn't allow us to be creative. And then what I think happened after the SMU game, I mean, on any given play, It's not run right, run left. You know what I mean? We don't know what they're gonna do. We don't know if it's gonna be a jet sweep, a reverse. I mean, think about it. Think about the NC game. There was just so much creativity, and I just
A lot more creativity, yeah. And
yeah,
you know,
I
it's
really
like I
we needed that loss.
like I said, I don't understand why Shannon Dawson is trying to insist that he's running the same plays. I mean, the plays might have been run at some point earlier in the year, but they weren't being used anywhere near like they are now, and they're not being set up like they are now. And there wasn't the same level of versatility and creativity as there is now. And Pringle hits the hole faster than anybody else that's been playing this year, and that clearly is making a difference.
And it's making the defense all of a sudden readjust their calculus on how they're going to attack Miami. Like the fact that they're keying on Malachi Tony so much is opening up so much.
Yeah, now that's a factor too. Yes.
Oh, here we go. Georgia Tech 16th, Texas 17th. So Texas moved down 7 spots. Michigan 18th, Virginia 19th, Tennessee 20th, and they're about to do the 15 through 10. Are you guys excited?
Here we go.
Here we go. This is ESPN Live TV. Who knows when they're going to put it up? But
we need to be 12 or 13.
I have a feeling it's going to be 14. We'll see. Georgia Tech 16th at 9-1. That's how bad the ACC is.
Pinellas Kane says it's funny how a Miami loss is a bad loss, but SEC losses are good losses, and Notre Dame's loss is a good loss. Great point, Pinellas.
There's such a double standard. You know, Miami really is in the wrong conference, unfortunately. You know, so
I'm not looking at the rankings, but like I said, man, we just need to win.
Yeah, I mean the fact that Texas has 3 losses. Oh, here we go. 15th, USC.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, they're about to put up 14th in a second.
This is the big one. Right? This is a big one coming right here.
It is. Let's see. They're doing them one at a time to build the drama.
This is a big one right here, man.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they're not 14th, just knowing these people. Oh, 14th is Vanderbilt.
Okay,
one down.
Okay, my theory is taking life here.
Let's see.
That's what it should have been.
12th, they have life.
Well, because Vanderbilt's probably going to lose.
They're 13th. They're 13th.
13th right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
who's 12?
It's not great. It's not the end of the world, but it's certainly not great. 12th would be better. So you know what? They split the difference between us, Gary. I said they were going to put him 14th because you said they should be 12th, which I agreed with, and they put him at 13th. So. All
right.
But you know what? I still think they should have been ahead of Utah. Utah's really a serious problem. I don't understand how Utah's ahead of Miami. That's so annoying because they're not going to lose another game, and both these teams are playing nobody the next 2 weeks.
I just think you never know. Like to me,
you never know.
The fact that
they made Utah 12, Matt.
I'm waiting. It hasn't come up yet.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's a long shot for them to get in the conference. Utah's 12th. Yeah.
That's stupid to me. Like
Utah. They moved Utah up a spot and they moved Miami up 2 spots. So they basically all they did was drop Vanderbilt for not playing. And BYU's 11th, but that's not going to matter.
Here's a question I had before you.
Notre Dame and Utah are the 2 problems right now. Utah and Notre Dame are massive problems.
What is the difference if Miami ends up 10-2? If they're not in the playoff, what does the season look like for them postseason? If they're not,
they'd probably go to the Gator Bowl and play the first SEC team that doesn't make it in the playoff.
So Alabama's dropped to 10th, by the way. So you know, for those of you that were hoping Miami would move ahead of Alabama, it wasn't even close. You know, I mean,
Alabama should be where Miami is, and Miami should be where Alabama is.
Correct. The SEC gets so much. And maybe deservedly. Look, I'm not going to say their conference is not great. It's a great conference, but like,
let me ask you this question: if Miami finished 10-2 and Alabama finished 10-2 at the end of the season, Alabama has a homecoming Rudy Poo team, and then they play Auburn, and we don't think they're going to lose either of those 2 games. Miami beat Florida State. Alabama lost to Florida State.
Totally agree.
So
why is Alabama ahead?
I just think if we just win our next 2 games, if they send Alabama home and put Miami in, oh well.
And Notre Dame stayed at number 9, by the way.
You just have to cry.
Miami has to keep winning games decisively.
Right. If they just
And then they have a chance to get moved ahead.
Then they have a chance. But I mean, someone's going to get hosed. But for Alabama to say, "Why'd you move us down? We lost 2, they lost 2." Well, you lost to Florida State. They didn't. You know, I mean, it is what it is, man. I'm really excited about how they've been playing the last 2 weeks. You saw what my sign says. Read that last sentence. Matt will be right.
Well, I hope so.
The mistake that Matt made though was he tried to predict the exact games that they were going to lose, and I think you said
not a mistake. It's my job.
But you actually tried to pinpoint. You didn't just try to predict the record. You tried to pinpoint the losses.
Correct. I think that's what we should do. Yeah.
Look at our two.
I don't know if I'm being wrong.
Look at our 2 losses.
You were 1-1.
Look at our 2 losses, and we're probably one as bad as he played against Louisville. It was a great defensive play that created that interception that sealed the game. I mean, if we go to overtime, even though we didn't play our best, we don't know if we win that game. That'd have been 2 games in overtime at the very, very end. So, look, if they win the next 2 games, I just think it's a different conversation. If we lose, the season is screwed. So we don't need to worry about that. All we need to do is win. Let's not overlook Virginia Tech, and let's not think we're just going to beat Pittsburgh. But if we have that game against Pittsburgh, knowing that if we win, we are in the conversation of being in the playoffs or whatnot, that's what the football season is all about. And we'll see what happens. But I have another sign for you guys up.
What's this one say?
Don't overlook Virginia Tech and don't take Pittsburgh lightly. We have to earn the right to be in the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
100%.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be really stupid if they don't win the last 2 games and everyone in the country is talking about Miami.
How likely would both of you guys be going to the playoff game if Miami's there?
How likely what?
I think Miami fans would buy up every single seat. I don't think there'd be a seat left for the other team.
Oh hell, if Miami's playing at Ole Miss or something, there would be a lot of people there, I think.
Yeah,
they've been waiting a long time.
I think so too. And that'd be a nice crowd. I may even make it to that game. We'll see.
All right, Sebastian.
But I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. All right, Matt. So what do you think?
That's pretty funny. So the college football playoff, based on the current CFP rankings, they have Miami as the 11th seed. It doesn't even make any sense. I don't understand.
Well, they're figuring teams are going to lose. Like, I don't like.
But who aren't they putting? I don't understand how they eliminate teams. Like, I don't understand. They have Miami 13th in the rankings, but they have them the 11th seed.
Eventually,
leaving out.
Right.
They're leaving out.
But I mean, maybe they're thinking that if Miami wins out, they're going to move them ahead of Notre Dame.
Texas. No, they have Notre Dame in there too. I'm trying to see they're leaving out.
Where's Notre Dame ranked this week? 9?
Ninth, yeah.
Yeah, see, they're moving Notre Dame.
Oh, they're leaving out. Yeah, so BYU will be out, and they're saying Utah. They think that Miami will jump Utah, but they're still leaving somebody out. Oh, you know what? They're not putting. They're unbelievable. They're having Miami win the ACC title. They don't have another ACC team in their bracket. Like, this is the problem with these idiots. They have a screen up right now that says the ESPN projected playoffs with Miami the 11th seed, okay, with Tulane 12th. So one other team comes in, Miami's out, and they don't have an ACC team in there or a second group of 5 team. So they're basically saying Miami's not in, but they list Miami in there because they want clicks. I don't understand. It's literally what they're showing on the screen right now on ESPN is impossible to happen unless Miami wins the ACC title.
And I don't know the answer to this. It's a weird question, but if Georgia Tech loses to Georgia and then wins the ACC championship game and has 2 losses, does the committee get to pick between Georgia Tech and Miami, or does Georgia Tech?
No. They could take a second group of 5 team if that group of 5 team wins its conference and is ranked ahead of Georgia Tech.
Or they could take Georgia, or they could go Georgia Tech and Miami and leave somebody else out. Leave out BYU, or
BYU wouldn't be left out. Somebody else besides BYU. If BYU's not going to be in. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yes,
they have to leave out Notre Dame. They have to leave out Notre Dame or Texas or Oklahoma. Leave out Notre Dame, Texas, or Oklahoma. Yeah,
they're leaving Notre Dame low enough in the ranking to where they'll have flexibility in 2 weeks if they need it. You know,
Right. So leave out Notre Dame. Yeah. So leave out Notre Dame.
yeah.
Because it's going to come down. It's probably going to. It may come down to Miami versus Notre Dame. And if they have, I mean, they're projecting Miami's going to jump over Utah. Fantastic. Even though Utah has someone on the committee. So if Miami jumps over Utah, and Miami doesn't get to the ACC title game, doesn't win the ACC title game, then it's going to come down to Miami versus Notre Dame or Miami versus Oklahoma, I guess.
Yeah, if Notre Dame's 10 and Miami's 11 or 9-10 or something like that,
Let me see the
at least they're set up to make a decision, which is all you can ask for right now. You know, so
right. It would actually, here's what it would come down to. It would come down, oh yeah, Alabama. It would be Alabama, Notre Dame, or Miami. Right. So Miami would have to either jump Alabama or Miami would have to jump Notre Dame for that last spot if everything holds up and if they pass by Utah. You know, those are the two teams that they'd have to pass by. And you know what? Maybe Alabama. I don't know. Maybe is it?
Lido Kane wants me to let you speak, Matt. So speak. I'm gonna be like the Phantom of the Opera here. Speak, my God of verbiage.
No.
Speak.
No, I'm good.
Let's go. BK Hurricanes waving at me like Frank.
Hey, Gary, can you hear me?
You better have something good to say.
I got something good to say.
Bring me on. Bring me on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm glad I caught it with Matt. Matt, what's up? Listen, Matt, they're not predicting Miami to win the ACC, but what they are doing is that they're predicting Miami to be the ACC representative.
I understand, but why is there no ACC team or second group of 5 team then? There has to be.
Because they still have to be ranked higher than the next person.
No,
like
you don't understand. You don't understand the rule. They have to have 5 conference champions that are in there.
They don't have to.
Yes, they do. You're wrong.
No, I thought they didn't have to. I thought they could because, for example, right? Let's just say Duke wins it all, wins the ACC. Right. They won't be ranked in the top 25.
Correct, but Miami can't. Correct, but Miami can't replace them.
No, but look, they won't be ranked in the top 25.
Right.
They could either go for another G5 team
Correct.
or an at-large.
No,
they're
they cannot.
That Miami would be the at-large.
It has to be a conference champion. That's the problem. That's the fifth. That's the 5th automatic conference champion. You have to have 5 conference champions.
I thought only 4 were guaranteed.
What's
only
that?
4 conference champions are guaranteed, not the 5th one. Only 4.
Here's the rule. The 5 highest ranked conference champions receive an automatic bid. That's what it says. Well, that's what it says. That's the rule. I've seen scenarios where it was like the ACC may not get a bid. Is that all bogus? No, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But the ACC would have a conference championship. It would have a conference champion.
Correct, but they would choose a different conference champion over Duke, for instance. And now there's no ACC team in.
Okay, so let's just say the group of 5 gets in, right?
One group of 5 is automatically in anyway. But
is that group of 5 a conference champion or a random group of 5?
The highest ranked group of 5 champion gets in. Okay. And then you get the highest other 4 highest ranked conference champions also get in. Wherever they are. Okay. It could be a second group of 5 champion, or it could be the SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, you know.
Hey, look at the point Chris Brown's making here. He's making a great point. Alabama was preseason number 7. They moved up 3 spots for 2 losses. Right. And then Miami started number 10 and moved down 5 spots for 2 losses. Well, I mean, Alabama is number 10 in this week's rank. So they moved down 3. It should really say they moved down 3 spots for 2 losses. And Miami moved down 5 spots for 2 losses. So still a good point, but a little typo in there.
That's a great point by Chris, but I think that, you know, these waters are messy because it's either 2 group of 5s and no ACC. Is that what you're saying?
But that's what it would have to be. There's no ACC team, yeah, or no SEC team or whatever, but that won't be the case. But yeah, you have 5, the top 5 highest ranked conference champions get automatic bids. That's the rule. Right. So if Duke isn't higher ranked than the second best group of 5 champion, then of course they're not going to be in by rule. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is.
But isn't there only one Group of 5 champion?
No, there's a bunch of different. The Conference USA.
Right, but they have to be
AAC.
ranked. But they have to be ranked higher than the next.
SBC has
at
James
large. They have to be ranked higher than the next
right.
at large bid, and that
No.
Miami.
No, they have to be higher ranked than the other conference champions. So if James Madison,
than the other conference champion, okay,
right. So if James Madison and
USF,
yeah, correct, right. If they're both ranked higher and they both win their conference championships, then they would be in over the ACC champion. So it's just going to be based on what the committee.
So what if the other conference champion is not ranked in the top 25?
Well, the committee has to figure out where they'd be. If they're ranked 50th and 58th, the committee has to say this is who we have ranked higher. If you notice at the bottom in an asterisk, they always put in. Let me see if they did this week. They always say, here's who the other team is that's not ranked. Let me see if they sent us that this week.
I'm putting Robert ACT on the screen because he's taking a shot at you, Matt.
Great.
Anybody that takes a shot at Matt is a friend of mine.
Oh, here, they have Tulane ranked. If Tulane wasn't 24th, then they would have a little thing at the bottom saying Tulane is the next highest ranked
I got you. Okay.
team. But they have a ranking that goes below 25. They just don't share it with anybody.
All right. So what you're saying now, statistically, Miami has no shot unless all the dominoes fall down and they win the ACC and they go to the ACC championship.
No. What I'm saying is the ESPN graphic they put up cannot possibly be true. That has Miami in the field, in the playoff field of 12. Because it's missing what has to be allowed by the committee, which is 5 conference champions. If what they're saying could be true only if Miami wins the ACC title. Okay, and they're just being disingenuous with how they showing Miami on the screen in the group in the 12, even though they're ranked 13th. What could happen though is Miami win its final 2 games. Maybe Alabama doesn't look good in one of its games. There's already some obviously people on ESPN they have Utah falling below Miami for no apparent reason, but that's what the ESPN bracket has. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened either. Utah's playing nobody, Miami's playing nobody. Utah's ranked ahead of Miami, but that could happen too. So now you're looking at Miami versus Notre Dame, right? Those are that would be the last spots unless there's a massive upset at some point. And that's where you get into this interesting conversation. Will the CFP let Miami be ahead of Notre Dame? If it comes down to that, I'd be so happy because that's what I want. That's all I want. I want those 2 teams to be the choice. Period. That's it. And then let the committee disband after they pick Notre Dame, which they would, because that would be the end of the college football playoff system. To me.
Yeah.
Where's Texas ranked in all this?
Texas is ranked
17th.
Yeah, 17th. They're not in the
17th. Yeah, we're not worried. Okay.
But they have 3 losses.
Yeah, nobody worried.
Now if USC beats Oregon, we'll see how far
I don't
Oregon
want that.
fall.
I don't want that.
I don't either because I'm not sure Oregon falls below Miami is the problem. So I agree. So I think that's important.
I don't want that.
No, I think that'd be bad. I agree with you.
Oregon has 1 loss right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They would have, if they lose to USC, they got to go below everybody. The
other problem is Alabama plays nobody these last couple of games, and they're not going to be in the conference title game. So, that's another problem, right? So, I don't know. Well, we're going to have to. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
In the meantime, not to change the subject, but this is. I don't know if this is the real Brock Berlin, but I mean, this is such a great question. Drive for your life. Drive to get into the college football playoff this year. Him or Carson Beck?
I'm taking Brock Berlin.
You taking Brock Berlin? Who you taking, Matt?
Brock Berlin.
What are the choices?
Brock Berlin or Carson Beck? If you have got one drive here to go to the college football playoff this year.
I think he's saying he's going to be my driver. I don't want either of them driving me. Carson Beck in that what kind of cars does he have again?
Lamborghini.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a Lamborghini. It's not enough.
Who are you taking to be your quarterback on the drive where you got to have it?
Can I say neither?
I'm going to take Brock Berlin. He beat the Gators, man.
Isn't Brock Berlin like 40 years old? Is this current time? What year Brock Berlin with the Gators? Brock Berlin with the Hurricanes? Or Brock Berlin now? I'm totally confused.
I don't know if it's the real Brock Berlin, but it's great. I thought it was a great question. But anyway, BK, what else you got for us tonight? Anything?
That's it. I'm just keeping my eye on the transfer portal. Too much transfer portal quarterback talk out there. Lenore Sellers, the kid from Arizona State, Sam Levitt. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna try.
If Sam Levitt's the best quarterback in the portal, absolutely he would be in play. If somebody was asking about Sam Levitt, yeah, at 100, it's like Miami will look for the best quarterback in the portal, and they will be willing to pay to get that guy. And
How much time does he have left? Is he a senior? Like he would only have 1 year left?
I think so. I haven't studied Sam Levitt, to be honest with you. I don't.
That's the only thing I don't like. I would have liked to have caught one with 2 years left.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's who's the best guy. I mean, I don't think you have to discriminate by how many years they have left. I mean, yeah, you would love to have a guy for 2 years, but you can't just tell Luke Nickel you're not going to have a chance to compete either. I mean, and that's given that Emery is going to go to the portal, which I have to believe he probably is, because it's just too big of a gamble for him to not. But I think Miami goes after the best quarterback and is willing to pay that guy. That's what I think.
Well, you never know. They could be more. There's probably a bunch of guys that's going to be hopping in the portal in a couple of weeks anyway. So,
yeah. By the way, agree or disagree? Miami has to blow out Pittsburgh in the finale because Notre Dame blew out Pittsburgh.
That would be nice.
I mean, but do they need to? Can Miami win that game by 3 points?
I think Miami needs style points the rest of the way.
I think they
need style points the rest of the way.
Big time. I agree 100%. Yep.
They need the style points.
They got to blow out these next two teams, like blow them out big time.
Ian Killian says portal quarterback is a must, no other option. I agree with that one. But anyway,
all right, Gary, Matt, that's it for me.
All right,
guys,
BK.
Good talking to you.
Thanks for coming on.
And by the way, I'm hopping on a conference call, guys, in a minute here, but I'm putting the story on the front page right now. If you guys want to read the analysis of the new rankings, it's going to be on there in like 2 seconds, just so you guys know.
All right, but Brock Berlin's funny as hell. Back in my day, you had to sit a year to transfer. These kids have it too easy. If that's really Brock Berlin, you're absolutely right. I'm the greatest transfer in the history of the program.
That's definitely Brock Berlin. It's definitely him.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Matt, we're going to let you go to the college football playoff conference call.
All right, I'll text you. Keep an eye on your phone. I'll text you if they say anything crazy.
Yeah, if anything, I'm sure Miami will be a topic of conversation. So yes, please monitor that for us and let us know, and then you'll come back. All right, now we're going to bring on the voice of the fan, Mr. Bruce Warner. How are you, sir? And welcome back to CaneSport Live.
I just texted you. Sam Levitt has 2 years to go. This other guy, Adam, did it too, but he's got 2 more years. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he's all in as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. If he's the best guy, he'll get a shot to come here if he wants. Anyway, Bruce, I had a chance to look at these new rankings that just came out tonight. For those that haven't seen the whole thing, let me just go through it real quick. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss. That's your top 6. Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, BYU, Utah, Miami, and then Vanderbilt and USC after Miami. I think they screwed it up. I think Miami should have been ahead of Utah and ahead of BYU, Bruce. And then we can have the Alabama Notre Dame debate, which I believe Miami should be ahead of those two too. But listen, you lose 2 games, and you're in a position of a beggar right now, and I think moving up a couple spots was progress this week.
Yeah, 13 is a lot better than where we were. It's a damn shame Alabama lost to Oklahoma, because that would have put us right in the driver's seat just by winning the last 2 games, I think. I thought of this before, and I don't know how it applies. I wish I was still on with Matt, but you might know. 2 years ago, Florida State goes undefeated and wins the ACC title. They didn't make the playoffs because they thought they're not good enough because they lost their quarterback. So why can't they do the same thing now? There's no question we're better than Utah. We're better than BYU. We're better than Notre Dame because we beat them. So I still think if Duke wins the ACC, they could still put us in there because of what they had done just 2 years ago. Why not? Yeah, well, don't they still have that power despite all these conference tie-ins?
Yeah, I mean, they do. I'm just not sure if they would have to put who they'd have to put in to justify if and Duke's not winning the ACC. Okay, there's no way. Duke could lose to Wake Forest next week. I don't think they'll lose to Carolina, but they could lose to Wake Forest, and they certainly could lose to Georgia Tech and Charlotte. So we'll see on that. But
I've been seeing the same thing that Matt just said. We were number 11 even before today on some of these playoff brackets, and now we're still projected as 11. Where is ESPN getting this from? Do they know something we don't know?
They're just doing their own projection, I guess. Kind of schematically looking forward, who's going to win what games. I mean, there's going to be some of these teams ahead of Miami lose.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I
thought it would happen this weekend, but it only happened once. Texas lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Who? I mean, I'm just trying to think who's going to probably lose. I mean, there's going to be. I haven't looked at everybody's games in the top 12, but there will be a couple of these teams that lose, but without question. So, we'll see what happens. All right, Bruce. What before we go back out, what did you think of the NC State game?
I thought we played the best game of the year. You and I have been saying for weeks, I hope they play a complete game, but finally they did. NC State, the team that blew out Georgia Tech, did not look like the same team. Wow. But you got it. I'm really happy. I'm not happy because he's hurt, but Scott is incredible. And Keontae Scott, it's a damn shame he's hurt. But if he's out for the season, I just hope he's healthy enough for that combine because he deserves to be drafted pretty high. He's all over the field. And Jacoby Thomas had a hell of a game too. That kid's really good too. It's a damn shame that neither one of them are coming back. But you know what? They've played really hard this year. They've made the secondary significantly better. And so the NC State game to me was offensively. Look, I've been screaming about this for weeks. Get the ball to the outside. Why would you keep running with 5, 6, 7 guys in the box up the middle all the time? They finally did it. I don't care. This is the second week in a row. I don't care what Dawson said on the press conference. They're not running the same plays. Those are different plays. I'm sorry, but they were. The first play from scrimmage, Gary, Pringle leaks out into the flat. He throws him the ball, and there you go. You got a guy you got to keep your eyes on now. It's not going to be someone that runs up the middle for 2 yards. And he's a difference maker. Malachi, again, they used him as a decoy. He runs around, gets the handoff, and he throws it to Trader. Those are the things that you're being creative about. I kept on saying creative. Use your brain. Look at what's going on. And again, throwing downfield to Josh Brown with single coverage, he makes the catches. Why not? Well, there's not much of a risk. It's either going to get incomplete or he's going to catch it. But they finally did it. They have weapons that they need to use, and that's without Fletcher and CJ playing the other day. They did
Did the offense look distinctly different to you?
1,000,000 times different. Of course it did. It did.
Dawson. I asked Shannon Dawson about that at the press conference this week, and he's like, I'm calling the same plays, Gary. They're the same plays. And I'm like,
I would check his family tree and see if he's related to Trump because neither one of them is telling the truth. Wow.
I'm like, Shannon, we're complimenting the hell out of you here at how fresh this offense looks. I mean, everybody it was like burying the guy a few weeks ago. And, listen, here's what's not happening. He's not sitting in his office with a pad drawing up new plays. Okay. Right. So the truth honestly is in the middle. He is running the same plays, but he's running the same plays with different looks, and he's running the same plays with different plays mixed in around them. And that has changed everything. And
he has guys catching the ball. That kid Marion is playing great.
Yeah, they're not getting penalties like they were. I mean, there's a lot of things contributing to this, but this is not the same offense that we saw at SMU and against Louisville that scored 20 and 21 points. No, it's just not. And that's a good thing. And I hope Shannon Dawson feels good about the work he's doing. I get it. I get it. You're a little sensitive. You don't want people pointing the fingers at you saying you screwed up the season. Like I get the whole perspective, but he's really doing a nice job right now. And I hope that, he deserves to be recognized for that. especially if he can be buried by everybody when he does bad, which was, listen, it wasn't unfair. They didn't score in those games, and it may have destroyed the season. We'll see what happens here with this committee and everything. And the Canes got to take care of business on the field too.
Yes, they do.
Okay, like you got to look impressive these last two games, just like you did the last two, if you want to get the benefit of the doubt from the committee. But I do think Shannon Dawson's done a much better job last few weeks, and I like the changes or alterations or tweaks. We'll call it tweaks, Bruce, just to be politically correct.
I wish you would have tweaked it before the SMU game, because that game we easily could have won. Easily. We could have killed them. We should have killed them. We wouldn't be in this predicament.
Well, the Mikester Kane is still pulling his hair out at the thought of the SMU game.
Oh, God, man. Hey. Yeah, I can't get over that, fellas. I really can't get over that game. We should have won that game. Should have beat the crap out of them.
We should have.
But should have, definitely should have. Okay.
You were ready to write a song. You were ready to write a new song about the Canes offense.
The Canes couldn't beat SMU because they didn't do what I said for them to do. There you go. There's your song.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
Hey, I just made that up. Anyway, no, I'll tell you why I'm pulling my hair out. I don't understand why Notre Dame's ahead of us. I mean, we beat this team, and yet they put Notre Dame ahead of us. I mean, and
Mikester, are you surprised? Come on, you know darn well they were going to do that. This is not a surprise. And if they pick them over us, I'm not going to be surprised because they're Notre Dame. That's who they are.
Notre Dame cares. Notre Dame,
criminal, man.
They have every
reason. Well, I'm not saying it's not criminal. I'm saying, what are you surprised? Is what I'm asking you. It's a difference.
They have every reason to shove it up Notre Dame's butts right now. Yep. Oh, you don't want to be in a conference. Oh, you want to be in the.
I'm a true Notre Dame hater.
Get on your high horse.
Notre Dame hater. Come on.
Have fun watching the playoffs, Irish. That's what I'd be.
Remember the Catholics versus convicts? Remember that? Yeah, those are the games I watched. Oh,
I would not give Notre Dame any benefit of the doubt on anything because they are cheating the system by not being in. They should be in the ACC. Period.
Well, yeah, you got a point there. The ACC is just crap. I mean, they put Miami on top, and without a potential champion, a Power 5 champion. I don't get that really, but whatever. Okay.
Look, I think that SMU game is really, really hurting us.
Yeah, that did it right there.
We were a banged up team with a banged up quarterback, and we went down there and just played like we were sleeping. We were sleeping.
They had one of the worst secondaries in the country, and we didn't go after it.
Right. And Dawson can say what he wants, but I'm putting the blame on him because we were not offensively responsible at all. We should have destroyed that team. They were so banged up, terrible.
Oh, of course. The other thing too is Utah. Who did Utah play this year? That was
nobody.
Nobody.
And I checked, and they played Kansas State and then Kansas to end the season. Big deal.
Big deal. Yeah, they're not anywhere.
No, they're not even ranked.
They're not even ranked,
right,
and yet they're ahead of us. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, what's their last game? Who are they playing for their last two games?
They play Kansas State at home, and then they go to Kansas for the final game. Wow,
big deal.
Right, but the point is that they have one loss, we have two.
Yeah,
and I still think we're better than them, and I still think what I said to Gary a few minutes ago about what happened to Florida State being undefeated and not making it. We're better than these teams, and I'd like to think that they're going to put us in over Utah. That's for sure. They're not that good.
Adrian Connor thinks that we have a voice and that we should change things. And so Greg, I offered to make Greg our designated Hellraiser earlier in the show. He kind of
you got to put that on Greg's show.
Kind of declined. So Mikester, what about you? What do you think? You want to step up to the plate and figure out a way to get into the heads of this committee?
Well, just tell them the truth. Hey, I mean,
Adrian wants to push facts. He wants to
give Notre Dame a benefit of the doubt. Come on, man. When this team beat Notre Dame to begin with, I mean, come on. And the same thing with Utah. Why are you giving them a better of the doubt? They didn't play anybody tough on the schedule. I thought you guys were supposed to go by strength of schedule. Isn't that correct?
Hey, didn't Notre Dame lose the second game of the year too? And then they moved into like the top 5 or 6 or something, whatever. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, that's right. That doesn't make any sense.
No, they drop like 2 or 3 spots, and we lose. We go from 2 or 3 to like 9 or 10, and then down to 16. I mean, it's just not. It's not fair. It's just like the ACC refs. They don't give a damn about us, which is a disgrace because we're the best team in the ACC. And the conference ought to get on those damn referees and tell them they got to cut this crap out because they're destroying the conference by not letting us win games. We should easily win. We've gotten screwed so many times. I'm not blaming not being in the playoffs for the refs. I'm just spewing my venom.
You can't. It was as bad as it gets. It was as bad as it gets in that SMU game.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, some of those calls were very questionable, obviously. But to get in that to get in that situation in the first place, where in case the call is bad, you can recover from it. But if you're playing down to their level and you're in a dogfight and a ref makes a bad call, you're screwed. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what Jimmy said before they went to Notre Dame back in 1989. Don't let the refs take this game over. And it's exactly what happened. They allowed them in the game, and then when Cleveland Gary scored, even though they said it wasn't, we got screwed. So that's
we got screwed that one.
Right? It doesn't surprise me. None of this surprises me. It's a damn shame, but it doesn't surprise me.
It really
we got to win, and we got to win without the refs.
It really is. It really is a shame, So anyway, a couple other things too. Gary, you mentioned about Emory Williams. I think you're right. He should go. He should because, I don't think he's ready. In my honest opinion, I don't think he's going to cut it. I think
he's got to decide if it's worth it to him to stay at Miami if he doesn't win the job. But he won't have a choice, Mikester. The rules have changed. It's insane what they've done to the rules. He's going to have to make a decision before spring practice in January. Can I win this job? And he's not going to know. He may not know who Miami's bringing in the portal, and he could stretch it out as long as he can to the end of the portal window and see who is in the portal that Miami might bring in. But he's going to have to make a calculated move here. Judd Anderson, who Ulan Middlebrooks also brings up in his little post here. He's got more options, Mikester, because he's young. He's a redshirt freshman. So he's not under the same pressure to go to the portal.
Yeah, he's in the portal January. We'll know that before spring practice.
It's January, and Emory has to make a decision, not knowing who he's going to be competing against. He knows
he may have to make a decision based on if somebody wants him and they're offering him good money. He may have to say, "I got to go, guys." He's got to take the money.
He's got to go. Well, he's got to go.
Berlin says Emory has the sauce. Put him in. I love this Brock Berlin guy.
Where did you find me? That's what he wants to know. I've been with Gary for 30-something years doing these shows. Man, Brock, where you been?
Well, I've been playing bass for 40 years myself. I had to stop though, man. Gosh, it was 40 years nonstop doing the same thing over and over and over again, playing the same songs over and over and over again. I just got tired, I got to take a break, but anyway, the play calling, I finally, it was a lot better, obviously. I think they were the same plays, but he just put it in a little bit of a, more of a mixture, more of a variety, more.
Correct. He hit it right on the nose. Yeah, he called a few runs up the middle, no question.
Well, yeah, of course he did. But
there were outside runs mixed in. There was one beautiful play where Maui Noah pulled into the middle line and was out in front. That was impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. So
and also Malachi threw a pass to Beck for a touchdown.
Because Malachi was quarterback at Plantation.
So that's 2 times in a row he's playing quarterback. But you know what? Every time he touches the ball, he gets swarmed. Use him as a decoy, which is what I said.
Right. Yeah, use him as a decoy. Or
not all the time, because he's
not all the time. No, not all the time. I'm not saying all the time for sure. But he used to play quarterback at Plantation. I mean, he's one hell of a fine athlete.
He wasn't at Plantation High. Where was he? At Heritage?
Heritage, yeah. Yeah, Heritage and Plantation.
He
Yeah.
played in the title game. He played quarterback.
Yeah,
didn't
he played in the title game.
He
That's
was the
right.
quarterback. He's that
Yeah,
good.
as a quarterback, and they won that game. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, guys. Listen,
All right,
I'm gonna
Mike.
let you go. There's
Thank you,
other
Mike.
people that want to get on the show here, so let's let them have a crack at it. And
You got it. Thanks for coming on.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
You got it, Mike.
Just don't let up, Gary. We can't let up. We can't. I know there's going to be a big crowd there. They just got James Franklin. Who knows if he'll give a speech before the game? Just go out there and just win the game. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely must. So I got a report here. Matt's monitoring the College Football Playoff Committee conference call. Yurchek, who I guess is the new head of the committee, said that the committee spent the most time debating where to rank Notre Dame in comparison to Oklahoma and Alabama in the 8 to 10 spots. No mention of UM in that conversation at this point. So that's obviously not great. Not a great development. But listen, Miami's got to keep winning impressively and try to get in that conversation here in the next 3 weeks. I mean, you got 3 more meetings. Okay, 3 more shots.
3. We have 2.
Well, we have 2 games, but there's 3 more committee meetings. They'll meet after.
Okay.
They'll meet that weekend of the conference championship games as well, and that's when they do their final ranking and decide who's going to be in the playoff. So, got to keep winning. Got to keep winning impressively. Ulan Middlebrooks, he says that next year's not a championship season. Last year and this year were. We missed it. Now it's 2 more years. No, that you can't say that. With the transfer portal the way it is, if you have holes in your roster, you can go fill them in the portal. It's not no rebuilding. You don't rebuild anymore. So don't write off next season, Ulan. I mean, look at what they picked up in the portal this year. Now, the difference is the best players really that they picked up in the portal this year came from the second portal window. There's not going to be a second portal window this time around. So they're going to have to be spot on in their evaluations in the first portal window.
But you know what else, Gary? He just made that comment. We're not a championship team. We don't know what's going to happen to Georgia Tech. They have a lot of seniors. These other teams could be loaded with seniors that are leaving, and we could be just as good, if not better than them. We have a lot of talent on this team. Some of them have to step up, obviously.
They're going to have holes. They're going to have holes they need to fill.
Yeah, they have holes.
But it's absolutely doable. I mean, there's no reason to write off next season.
We got to get a quarterback, though, Gary.
Yeah, they do. But we'll see who's in. We'll see who's in the portal. All right, let's go to Adam. Adam, welcome back. CaneSport Live. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you tonight?
You've been pulling it. Yeah, you've been pulling at your hair all night too. I see.
Yeah.
You and the Mike Spicane, but you have a little bit more hair than he has.
Nice. Thank you. One question. I was watching the game on Saturday. Did Jordan Lyle even play?
I think he played one play.
One play.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what's going on with him. He looks thicker. That's for sure.
I'll tell you what's going on with him. I think he's going to the portal.
Yeah, I think so too.
Really? That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's part and parcel with college football.
Oh no, he didn't even get one. I thought he got one play. I could have sworn I saw him in there one play. They don't have him playing at all on the participation.
All right, then I guess he didn't get in.
Well, then next year,
I think they've made the decision he's going to the portal, and they don't want him. They probably don't want him to get hurt. I'm just.
Okay. I mean, it's unfortunate.
There's no other reason not to play him at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but next year
we'll see him at SMU next year. That's all.
Yeah. No, but next year, barring if Fletcher decides to come back, which I hope he does, you have a backfield of Fletcher, Brown, and Pringle, which isn't a bad place to start. I mean, and I think now with the portal, it's also retention. Like people were saying, and again, this was not only the message board, but also every UM game is now like Tony, is like, Miami's going to have to pay to keep Malachi Tony. And so you have to set aside
100%.
Yes.
That's a $2 million bill right there, probably.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you need the funds for retention. I don't think he's going anywhere, but you have to.
No, they're going to pay him what they have to pay him. You can't lose Malachi Tony.
No.
I mean, unless he and his camp go insane, like lose their minds, but
Yeah. But no, I mean, the only other player that I'm actually concerned that we might lose is JoJo, but JoJo looked good last game, and he looks like he's getting back engaged.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. They're recruiting a lot of good-looking receivers, man. I'm not sure what to think about JoJo. You know, he had the penalty that hurt him again against NC State. He's having a rough season. I know he caught the ball from Malachi, but man, I mean,
even Nye Carr, I was shocked. Like he had a nice catch and spin from Emory. Yeah. He looks like he's coming along. Upshot.
Yeah, but I don't know that he's going to be able to. He went into the portal last year and came back. I don't know how he avoids going to the portal this year.
But I saw Upshaw got some play. No, I saw he was in. He didn't get any passes, but I saw that he was.
Upshaw is he's very good.
And then you have like this guy Wingo, you have Spofford, you have lots of other players coming in. A couple other things. One, this is what I really liked from Tony. Not only do I like his catching, I liked his blocking on that little swing pass to Marion on what was it, 3rd and 11 before his touchdown catch. He had a really nice block to spring. I think Marion got 12 yards on that play. And then the next play was the Tony touchdown catch before the half. Mm-hmm. So I've been really impressed with his blocking more than his catching. For someone his size, he really blocks his ass off.
Yeah, he does. He's just a great player. Period. That's all you can say. I'm listening. I know we don't want to talk about these things. You're saying who might go to the portal. I think Ray's got to go to the portal. I don't think that's an issue. He's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to talk about it. It's just the life of college football.
Right. It's just what it is. That's what we talk about. I mean, we're sitting here speculating who's going to be in the portal, which doesn't open until January. But that's what happens. That's what we talk about.
Do you think, and now getting back to the game real quick, do you think, I mean, obviously Virginia Tech's going to get a bump because it's their senior day and it's a new coach. Is it really just more Miami just has to play Miami football the next 2 weeks and they'll be fine? And do you think, you guys have been around this team obviously longer than I have, or this year's team, do you think this team is mature enough for that? Because it does take a certain maturity to go on the road. They already showed once that they didn't handle that test well. Do you think this team is mature enough for the next 2 weeks to go on the road?
I have the same answer. I'd like to think so. I don't have a definitive answer, but I'm sure.
I think they are. I think they are. I think the Pitt game is going to be more difficult than people think. They played horrible against Notre Dame, but it didn't help that their coach said the game meant nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, what an idiot. But that could be really tough in the cold up there in Pittsburgh. But they do. But the committee made it really clear in their conference call tonight that if Miami wants to get into the discussion at the end, that they have to win and look impressive these last couple games. Right. I mean, if not, you're going to be in the Gator Bowl. It's that simple. And to have any chance to get into this thing, you have to look like you belong in there. And the onus is on the coaches to get the team ready to play and have game plans that are equipping them to do that. And a lot of that's going to be scoring points.
Yeah, and they started off the other day. They did what they had to do.
Yeah.
I watched Virginia Tech play at Florida State. They're horrible. Yeah, they've had talent in the past, but they don't have much talent. Their quarterback.
Well, they're one-dimensional. What is it?
Yeah, they're very one-dimensional. They have no.
They can't pass the ball.
Pinellas Kane's blaming the offensive woes on Mario, saying that because of Mario, Dawson was coaching tight. I mean, I don't know if that's fair, but I did think they were playing tight. Whatever the reason was, and I think that the way that they have approached offense these last two games has loosened everybody up. They're not getting the stupid penalties. They're making big plays. It has energized the sideline for sure. The players are more juiced up, and it's had a very positive effect. And that's what they have to now take on the road. That they got to bring that energy on the road, Adam.
Okay, real quick. And I hearken back, and I don't even want to compare these two offensive coordinators because they're completely different. But do you think sometimes some of Dawson's plays, like Malzahn's plays against us, were a little gimmicky in that the halfback pass, not the halfback passes, the Malachi jump pass? I know he can do it, but sometimes isn't it just better you give it to Pringle on a little swing pass, have him around the right end.
But
He
sometimes,
has, like, that
sometimes
little-
Adam, they're using these plays to set teams up so they could suck them up. If they see something like that again, they're going to do one thing and they can just go.
Okay.
Just like, so, yeah, we've had some sweeps with Malachi, and then the other day he throws the ball, and then he did it with Beck. So you know what? Sometimes you use these plays to set up things going down the line.
And Malachi had multiple options on that pass play, by the way. I mean, the ball ended up going to JoJo, but he had Josh Moore on the post. I think it was Josh Moore on the post. He could have gone there too.
No, I'm talking about the one where he overthrew Pringle by like 10 yards, and it had
that was gimmicky. But it was there. I mean, it
would have been a walk-in touchdown.
Walk-in touchdown.
Yep.
So what they're doing is they're making it more difficult for the defense to prepare for them because they're capable of doing anything at any time, and you don't know what they're going to do, and that's a good thing.
So it's not like the Malzahn offense where it's just unmitigated chaos.
No, I don't think so. And especially if Mark Fletcher comes back, and you got that extra body, and
is Pringle more? And this is my last comment. Or two things. One, I thought Bryce Fitzgerald did really well as the nickel to replace Keontae Scott. I don't know if that's his natural position next year, but I think he can play it. What are your thoughts on that?
Wait, say it again. I was just reading. I'm sorry. I was just reading a text from Matt about the.
I said Bryce Fitzgerald, I thought, did a good job as the nickelback. But do you think going forward next year that'll be his natural position, or he's better as a ball hawking safety? And then just
I think it'll depend on what other personnel they bring in.
Yeah.
That'll determine that. He's flexible, but we got to see who replaces Scott and Thomas.
Yeah, I like him as a free safety. That kid is all over the field.
Okay, because I heard like this kid Dunnigan can also play nickel. The kid they got out of Kansas.
Yeah,
he looks like he can be corner safe,
but true freshman. So they'll be looking in the portal for somebody with a little more experience.
Okay, and the last thing is Pringle more a power back or is he more a speed back in the ilk
he's
of,
more speed back, but he's not afraid to go mix it up now. I think he weighs about 185, 190. He's not that tall.
He's
probably about 5.
He could run, he could catch, he could block. He's just not that big, but he's good.
Yeah.
Real
but you look at like Fletcher as like that battering ram type of back.
Yeah, but that was a trap. Yeah. I feel that was a trap. As good as Mark Fletcher played in some of those games, getting pigeonholed into that style of running game and all the A and B gap play calls, it was a trap, and they fell into it not knowing that it was a trap, and teams started figuring out how to defend it.
Okay. Well, I think Marty Brown's more of a power back, just like his build.
Well, Fletcher is too, but you notice, so now they've adjusted and they're not doing that, but you lost 2 games.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was the coaching failure of the season thus far, was not figuring out that now that you have done that for 4 or 5 games, that teams were going to start figuring it out. To me, the other warning signal that they didn't take was that all those games, Notre Dame, Florida, Florida State, where they played so great early, had great game plans, and jumped out to big leads, and then those teams came back in the second half.
Yeah,
those were warning flags that would be waved smack in the faces of the coaches, and I don't know that they took them as warning flags, and that ended up being a bit of a mistake too. And then you end up only scoring 20 and 21 against Louisville and SMU, which against any decent offensive team is not going to be good enough.
Yeah, you're right.
As good as your defense is, it's not going to be good enough.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for taking my call. Speak to you next week, and go Canes.
All right, Adam. Good.
Thanks,
Adam. Thanks for being part of the show. All right, Bruce, we've cleared the board, so let's just peruse some of these. I
like this Jennifer Miller comment. The kids know what to do. Stop calling them out. I'm not calling them out.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still. I'm still
worried about your coach.
But the thing that I was reading before, though, Matt reporting in from the college football playoff conference call, they were asked to explain why Utah is ahead, and Utah's 2 losses were to number 5 Texas Tech and to number 11 BYU, and Miami's 2 losses were Louisville and SMU, 2 unranked teams. Okay, this is a legitimate point. So what they're saying is the 2 losses that Miami took are worse than the 2 losses that Utah took, even though Utah doesn't have a signature victory. They have beaten nobody. So that's a tough one, Bruce, when you're sitting there, comparing losses, but not looking at the wins. Miami has that win against Notre Dame, which probably needs to be carrying more weight with the committee. So somebody better convince me.
And we beat the daylights out of NC State, who beat unbeaten Georgia Tech, right? They just had beaten them the week before.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they can't change their minds on that in the next couple of weeks, that's a bad development for Miami from that meeting tonight.
We've got to blow these 2 teams out.
Yeah, because if they're sitting there, they're saying right now that Utah has better losses than Miami, even though they don't have a win. And Miami's got to change that narrative somehow, some way. Louisville beating Georgia Tech this weekend would go a long way towards doing that. All right, Jake has appeared.
Made it. And
yeah,
little
long happy hour tonight. Usually you're in earlier, but what do you got for us tonight, Jake?
I don't even have my wine tonight. Yeah, no, I'm coming straight from the
You weren't
office.
at happy hour.
Yeah, no, I was listening to some of the show, and one of the things that, and if any of this has been mentioned, I missed about 30 minutes of the show, but I think it's ridiculous. What does the SEC have 5 teams in it right now?
Right now, yeah.
What? Okay, they're a better conference, but then there's no consequence to losing. You just get a free pass for losing then, and not being in obviously there's no guarantee, and all likelihood we won't be in the conference championship game, but it just bugs me that okay, you play in a better conference, but if you can't win in a better conference, then what difference does it make whether you're playing better teams or not if there's no penalty for losing? And
Gary just said something about what Matt was texting him. Alabama lost to Florida State.
Yeah,
Florida State.
Five is too many, and Alabama's got no business in this thing.
Right.
No.
I think number one, you shouldn't be taking.
She roots for them, but
you shouldn't be taking 5 teams from the SEC. That's number one. 4 should be good enough. And Bama lost to FSU, and then
because then just call it what it is. It's the SEC Invitational.
It's the SEC Invitational. Yes, I agree, and that's wrong. I mean, 4. If you give them 4 spots, that's a third of the tournament. Okay,
you had your chance. You had your chance during the season. So, what's the point? All you're doing then is just basically carrying the SEC season in an additional several games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, what was the point of the season?
Yeah, exactly. There's no consequence to their season. Our season, we lose 2 games by 9 points, and it devastates us. And the SEC, you lose 2 games. Oh, well, no problem. There's no saying Vandy.
Florida State ranked in the first game. Were they ranked when they played Alabama? We're 22, 23, something.
Florida State?
They weren't?
No,
they got in there after they beat Alabama. That's right.
Yeah, they were 2-10 last year. They weren't ranked. Yeah.
But that's a horrible loss for Alabama. Horrible.
Yeah. Well, that's where
worse than our losses. At least Louisville's got a winning record, and SMU's got a winning record. They might not be ranked, but their records aren't bad.
They talk quality losses, but it's Alabama does not have a quality loss. That's a horrendous loss.
Yeah.
Even Florida State's falling apart.
I'm going to repeat this what Caesar's pointing out. I do believe that if it's right there at the end, Miami, Notre Dame, and Miami gets in what the committee is calling the pool, they're calling it pools of decisions they're making. If Miami and Notre Dame are in the same pool at the end, that's where I think that they might put Miami in.
I think we have to
win these last two convincingly to get there.
I think we have to kick the shit out of Pittsburgh because
Yes.
Notre Dame put up a pretty big win against them.
Yes,
So
they got to play. Yes.
if we beat Pittsburgh by 3 touchdowns or so, then we can say, look, we beat Notre Dame head to head. We beat North Carolina State more convincingly, and we beat Pittsburgh more convincingly. Why are they in? What the fuck? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Well, we did win the state championship.
No. Did we talk like
and USF was ranked? Weren't they ranked when we beat them? And they were a hot team. They had won
USF was ranked. I don't know if Florida was ranked, but Florida State was ranked when we beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville was technically ranked when we lost to them. So there's your quality loss for the ranking committee. They seem to value losses more than wins. Yeah, it's crazy. Did you guys touch on, like, I really like this last game. Like, why couldn't we do this all this year where we just kept our foot on
They missed the warning signs, Jake. I just talked about it a minute ago. They missed the signals, the storm signals that were there. I mean, the way Notre Dame came back, the way Florida came back, and then you get to FSU and you get outgained 175-15 in the fourth quarter and outscored 19-0. Those were red flags going crazy that you needed to make things better on offense, and they didn't do it. And they only scored 20 and 21 in those 2 losses, and that's where the biggest mistake was made. Let me hold you up for a minute here.
Yeah.
Matt's back from the. I'm just going to bring Matt back on the show here for a minute. He's going to give us a report on the conference call. Matt, it doesn't sound like things went so well for Miami on that call.
Thanks for having me on. Long-time listener. It was scintillating.
Hey, I'm not supposed to be on with you. What the hell's going on, Matt?
How do I get back the last 30 minutes of my life? That's all I want to know. I don't. I mean, when they start talking about Utah and make it sound like Utah is this world beater compared to Miami, I sort of lost my train of thought at that point.
They're comparing the losses and they're not looking at the wins.
Did I not tell you that on Good Morning CaneSport? I told you that.
You did.
I freaking knew it. It's ridiculous. Did you read the quotes, or should I read some of these quotes? Did you read them when I sent them to you?
I read them, but you can.
Okay.
You can.
No, I need to repeat it.
Real quick, didn't Utah get a ringer on the lemittee just like last week?
Yeah. Now all of a sudden they're the best. I'm amazed they're not ranked number 1. Based on what the guy was saying, they should be ranked number 1 in the country. I don't understand why Utah's not number 1. They lost to 2 amazing teams, and they crushed everybody. He brought up they have the number 2 biggest margin of victory. He didn't mention they played crap teams, but anyway. Look, here's the bottom line. The most interesting part of the whole thing, they said, notwithstanding Utah's a massive problem now after what this guy said about Utah and made it sound like there's, like Utah has to basically fall on its face against 2 crappy teams now for Miami to jump them, which is ridiculous. That's a massive problem, obviously. But he did indicate there's some wiggle room with the Miami Notre Dame thing. He said Miami's not in the pool with Notre Dame right now, right? So they discuss pools. They discuss similar pools. So they're not even saying, everyone in the national media is saying, well, Miami, Notre Dame. They're not even discussing those 2 teams on the same level right now because they're not in the same grouping, right? They go 8 to 10. They're not looking at team number 13 and saying, hey, should 13 be 8? They're looking at 8, 9, 10 and saying, where should Notre Dame, Oklahoma, and whoever the other one is, Alabama, where should those 3 be ranked? And what he said is, if it comes down to it and maybe Alabama loses to Auburn, or I don't think they're going to be, he said they could be in the SEC title game. I don't think they will be, but if somehow they lose a game or someone else in between, a couple of other teams lose, it sounds like they look at 3 teams in the same spots. So it sounds like if Notre Dame's 9 and maybe if Miami's 11, because it's probably like, it has to be 9, 10, 11, right? I don't think Notre Dame's going to move down. And they might only look at 8, 9, 10, which is what they did this week, right? So if they only look at 8, 9, 10, Miami's in trouble. Because getting to 10 is going to be tough. But if they look at 9, 10, 11, and if Notre Dame's 9th and Miami's 11th, in that grouping, they call them groupings, because they're obviously taking lots of LSD and mushrooms, and they make up words like groupings, which I don't even know what that means. But if they're in the same grouping, then they'll look at it finally. That's when they'll look at it. It's like you go into the doctor and you say, Doc, I think I have a cancerous growth right here. And he's like, let me look in your eyes. It looks like you're cross-eyed a little bit. Let me work on your eyes for a few minutes here, Like they're not looking at the main thing. They're like just throwing stuff and seeing.
Hey, Matt, let me ask you something. Alabama, out of all these teams, may have the worst loss of any of these teams in that little grouping. They lost to Florida State. They were killed by Florida State. Yeah. Is that counting against them?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. No, it only counts. It only counts against the teams they want it to count against.
Okay.
They literally brought up Miami's 2 unranked losses as really hurting Miami compared to Utah, which won.
They are both winning records. Louisville and SMU have winning teams, not losing teams.
They cherry pick what they want to do, and listen, I don't mind it, but just be consistent with it. Don't just pick this from that team and this from that team, and they're 2 totally different things, and now that's your metric. Like they keep being asked, what's your metric? They were asked. Let me look at the exact question because I don't want to, God forbid, Yarashik sounds like a guy who's going to really knock on my door and yell at me, so I don't want to get him mad at me. So I want to use the exact thing. He was asked how much do common opponents come into play with Miami and Notre Dame, and he said that common opponents are one of the data points we use, right? So they got all these data points, but head-to-head is supposed to be a data point, right? But they're not mentioning that.
The data point, Matt. The data point.
They're using the words data points, but they should just be cherry picked. They replaced whenever they say data point, just say cherry pick. We're cherry picking this. We're cherry picking that. This is our cherry picking for this one. Like that's what they're doing. If they had a structured set of data points, which they do on their website, but clearly don't use, that's a fair way to do it. But the problem is this has never been a system that's been good. Even when it was, a national championship game with 2 teams or 4-team playoffs, there's always unhappy people. There's never a system that really works. And the reason is you get all these weird things that happen. Miami lost 2 bad losses. They have a great win. Maybe, if you think USF's good, 2 pretty good wins, right? Some of these teams have no good wins and 2 good losses. So, how does that compare? Is Miami having a great win and 2 bad losses better than a team that has no bad losses but no great wins, right? That's the juggling act they're trying to explain instead of just laying it out like I just did. Just say what it is. Just say what it is, which is we're really punishing Miami for their losses. That's what they should say. They should say we're punishing Miami for the losses. We don't care they beat Notre Dame. That's what they should say because it's true, but they won't say it. They won't say it.
Listen, Matt, when you got off the show before, I asked Gary, 2 years ago, Florida State's undefeated and they win the ACC title.
Okay.
They threw them out because
you know why? That's in their data points. That's in their published data points. A major injury, they can decide no matter what your record is to get rid of you. It's literally in their list.
It has to be an injury.
It has to be, or a player who's not going to play. Just a guy who's not going to play. Okay. If your star player who got you there is not going to play in the game, they have the right to kick you out for a team that they think can win because they don't want a non-competitive team, and that's in their list.
So you said they say they can only go by groupings, and it has to be 2 or 3 teams apart.
I don't know what it means,
Jake. I'm going to ask them if that's the case. How are they picking the group of 5 team?
Well, that's just the group of 5 team is the highest ranked. It's not the top group of 5 team. It's the highest ranked conference champion. Okay, that's the team that gets in. If Tulane loses in a conference title game, even if they're ranked higher than the champion gets in. Like they have to take 5 conference champions. Period. The top 5 ranked conference champions are in automatically. After that, then you go the rankings, right? So those 5 are automatically in, and then it's just pure rankings after that. So where people are getting confused, and even ESPN with their stupid, they keep putting Miami in their bracket, which is making me freaking crazy because Miami fans are all excited and they don't understand. There have to be 5 conference champions. If Miami is going to win its conference championship, then fine. I have no problem with ESPN putting Miami in there, but put a parenthesis and say conference champion for all the 5 teams they're putting in the bracket as conference champions because in their bracket, they're not putting another ACC team in. Okay, and they're putting one Group of 5 team in there, which is technically impossible based on the rules of them taking 5 conference champions as automatic bids. So ESPN's doing a massive disservice to Miami and to the nation by putting Miami in there with no explanation for why they're doing it. And they should say, we think they're going to somehow win the conference championship because I guess Georgia Tech's going to lose and SMU's going to lose and Duke is going to lose one of his 2 games, which is what has to happen.
Did they say anything about 5 SEC teams, which is what Jake brought up before?
Oh my God, it's like talking to Gary. I can't understand a word anyone's saying. Raise your hand, please.
Hit it, Bruce. Yeah.
Hey man, I'm just sitting here letting you guys talk. Don't bring me into the conversation.
I was just going to say, hopefully Pat Narduzzi decides that he needs to win this week. That would be nice. But
how about just not lose by 100 points this week?
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe you can lose
by 70. Just lose by 70.
Who gets their team ready to play Notre Dame by saying, I don't care if we lose by 100 points?
They almost did.
Hey, we got to worry about them because we haven't played them yet. Let's see how he's got that team jacked up for us. I'm sure
we need him to win this week, though.
We need him to win this week.
Yeah.
That'll get them more hype for the next week, but we'll live with that. They got to win this week.
Who do they play this week?
Georgia Tech.
They play Georgia Tech.
Okay. All right.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Thanks for coming on and giving us that report.
I'm going to go manage the message boards. Apparently, there's some people posting on the boards that aren't on this show. I don't know why. That's really strange. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. All right, Jake, you got anything else for us tonight?
No, well, actually, I got one thing. This is a real quick aside. I'm hoping it's a good omen. My grandfather is in the meat packing business, and he has a big farm full of all kinds of shit, and they auctioned most of it off this last week. Except him and my dad noticed the weirdest piece of Miami memorabilia was sitting on a shelf there. And
Really?
So I'm hoping it's a good omen.
What is it?
My grandfather collects pig stuff. He owns a meat packing plant.
Yeah, but what did he find?
Looks like a popcorn
So he
box.
found a Miami pig cheerleader. And this is
my God! Wait, turn it around so we can see the face.
What? Here we got to get the pom
there we go.
out of the way. So yeah.
That's
the skirt and
incredible.
all. So I literally own the weirdest piece of Miami memorabilia that was found in a shelf in Northern Illinois. So
very
I'm
cool.
hoping this is a good omen for us because talk about just my grandfather's not a Miami Hurricanes fan. I did not grow up having that instilled on me, and then just randomly this thing was found off a shelf. So I'm hoping that's a sign of good things to come. We'll see.
All right, Jake. We'll talk to you next week.
I don't recognize you without the bottle and the glass in your hand, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know. And next week I'm out of town, so I'll try to get on the show maybe if I have a minute, but I might not have my wine. So that's 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. That might be a little too weird.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll find a way to get on.
Right,
you can get on your phone too. Your phone will work.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
All right, Jake. We'll see you next week. Jennifer Miller, my girl. She says, please don't tell her that Scott wasn't hurt in practice. No, he was hurt in the Syracuse game. So, Jennifer, you can take a sigh of relief there. Let's go to K-Mac. Where you been all night, man?
Hey man, been hiding, been ducking SEC shots and all this other good stuff, man. What's going on, Bruce?
How you doing, man? Good.
Doing good,
Hey,
man.
what are we, 13 now. I thought we have a shot, but we've got to win these 2 games big.
We do. I wanted to jump in on the forum with everybody, bashing the SEC, and we spoke about this last year about this whole crap with the SEC. I'm sick of the bias. The bias is ridiculous. We know it every year. We go through the same thing. They don't want to punish these guys for losing. But again, you want to put together the most powerful conference on the planet, and then you want teams in with 6 losses. I'm tired of going through that foolishness. But main thing I want to talk about, man, is I'm glad I can watch the games again. Looking forward to kind of all the drama. It's making me, enjoy watching the games But we have nobody to blame but ourselves, man. That's the frustrating part is we can point the fingers at these damn committees. We can point the fingers at the Notre Dame loss in Utah. If we just take care of business, None of this stuff means anything. We don't have to worry and give a damn about what the committee thinks about Utah's good losses.
One loss and you're a lock to get in.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it seems like, And so I'm sitting there saying, hey, we could get away with, we could have got away with the first loss to whoever the hell it was. I forgot who it was.
To Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville. That wasn't that. And again, I agree with you, Bruce. I don't think that's a bad loss. I mean, that was a ranked team. They've been a ranked team for more than half the season. So I mean, I don't consider that a bad loss. I mean, it's bad from the standpoint that we shouldn't have lost, and we were at home, coming off a bye week. So we should have been prepared for that game. Those are points that I say we should get hit for, because we should have been ready to roll. We should not have came out flat like that. Another thing too, man, Mario's got to get that mentality. He got to get that Jimmy Johnson mentality, man, next year. Put teams away. Stop playing around, letting guys hang around the third quarter, fourth quarter. You got to start putting these guys away. Clearly, you're starting to see now these style points are meaning something. We're sitting in a room now talking about, oh, well, they only beat, Syracuse by 14, or if you got to come out next year, finish this year. Let's put that into practice now.
I said this earlier, K-Mac, before you weren't on the show yet, but or in the studio
okay.
yet, but I felt that when teams were coming back on them, Notre Dame, Florida State, and really that Florida State fourth quarter, when all of that stuff happened, that was a message that you are not doing enough on offense, that you don't have enough going on to sustain offense for four quarters, and they didn't take the warning signals. Okay, they didn't change. They didn't adjust for the SMU and Louisville games, and they didn't score enough points in those games.
Yep. And I apologize. I didn't hear the rest of the show earlier. So you might. So if I did go over some of those things that you guys talked about, I do apologize. But I did catch the last about 20 minutes right before I came on, Gary. And dude, that's that term and that like I guess mantra is that's so spot on when you say warning signs.
They were warning.
We clearly saw that there were things that were saying, "Hey guys, fourth quarter, they figured us out. The stuff we were doing is not working anymore. We're not doing anything different, dude." That was an awesome, like, putting those two together. I can't come up with a better term. That's exactly what they were.
And there's a pattern going back to the Syracuse game last year where the same thing happened.
Yes, with the defense, when we were talking about the damn defense.
Copies of each other, 5 or 6 carbon copies over a span of a 12-month period.
So you know what I've been saying, K-Mac, I've been saying this for the last 7, 8, 9 years. We weren't good enough. We didn't win the ACC title. The last 2 years is the best teams we've had in the last 15, 20 years. And we still didn't get in there. That's scary.
Well, last year, for me, last year was so upsetting because we had a generational offense and we couldn't get in there. That hurt. And I'll be honest with you, I really believe they wanted us. I mean, you think about Miami, primetime, Ward, everything that college football is looking for, Miami had last year in terms of we were a built for primetime team. We were getting ratings. Everyone wanted to see what we were doing. This year, I think for me, it hurts even more because of the fact, one, we have a more balanced team, right? Yeah. We have a good offense. We have I want to say a great defense, right? When Heatherman has those guys rolling and he's not stagnant, when they're a really, really good defense. But the thing that hurts me the most is every time I look at that offensive line and that defensive line and I say, that's a top 3 line in the country, and we have not taken full advantage. We won't see that same line next year. We're going to wish we had a couple of those guys back. And that's why I'm so disappointed in Beck, because
the run blocking stats came back are horrendous, like not very good. And that's with a really good, that we know this is a really good offensive line. They're elite in pass blocking.
Yes.
And we know they're better in run blocking than what their numbers show. And the reason was because of what the predictability was of the run game.
Not only that, but they were stacking 6 in the box. Why would you run up the middle like that?
6, 7, 8. Gary, that's exactly, Bruce, that's exactly spot on correct. The scheme made the line those numbers look worse because of what the scheme was doing. But let's take the elite pass blocking in effect. If you look at it and say, okay, we might be stagnant in terms of run, but what Beck should have had, he should have had Cam Ward numbers this year with the time he's getting. How many games did this kid had no dirt on his damn jersey? No dirt on his jersey. That's the elite time being given. You imagine our line giving that same kind of time to some of these other quarterbacks that would pray to have what we have in terms of protection. Like, that's what's upsetting, is the fact that we have such great lines on both sides of the ball, that's Mario's bread and butter, right? He wants in the trenches, he wants dominance. He has it, and we didn't take full advantage. Now, by all means, dude, I'm praying, I'm hoping if we make the playoffs, I'm telling you, we're making noise. For some reason, they get up for big games. Okay, if we get in, we're making some noise. I will say that much. But doggone it, it shouldn't be to this point right now. We should be cruising towards the finish line. And when I say cruising, not talking about like taking a hat off or taking a play off or taking a game off, but saying that we should not be having to worry about what everybody else is doing and who's beating who. All we should have been having to focus on was we got Pitt next week.
What was so terrible about throwing the ball to set up the run instead of the other way around? What's so hard? What's so terrible about that? Come out throwing, and then they'll get off the line of scrimmage, and then you can run the ball.
Exactly.
Why run, and force yourself to have to throw on third down? Why?
Exactly. And I've heard some people say it before about they're protecting. They're trying to keep Carson out of. You paid him $4 million, or look, I don't even know what the money is, but let's just say I know it's more than $2 million.
Let him go.
You damn right. Let him throw the ball. He's making some serious money. You don't pay that kind of money to have a game manager. You're paying that kind of money to have a guy to win you games, not manage them.
But now, I think any of us, okay, if we're the coaches, would have been spooked by what he did against Louisville.
Yeah,
he literally threw 5 interceptions. Okay,
yeah, he did.
Only 4 counted. He literally threw the ball to the other team 5 times.
Yeah,
one of them was not his fault. The one at the end, we're lost.
I have to look at that game again to see why the play calling was like that. There may have been reasons why he felt pressured into doing it. They were down 14-0, so he had to come back.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Look at it again.
3 quarters ahead of them.
But in fairness, though, like Gary, in fairness, like you said, he threw the ball to them. It wasn't like the guys weren't open. He just didn't hit them. He just did not throw the ball where it should be for his guy, and his guy only be able to catch it.
No, and he wasn't taking the checkdowns. He had wide open checkdowns in the flat that he wasn't taking.
Wide open.
Yeah, and that too. And so that was something that. And my thing is, the coaches aren't looking at this the whole game. You got to, I hate to try to revisit, but it's just, to me, it all culminates to what I'm talking about now, which is here it is. We got to stress these damn committees. We have to sit here and listen to them, do everything that they can find to keep that Miami logo from making the playoffs. They're trying to get the other U, the imitation U, in there with these damn Utes. But like I said, you have to beat somebody as well, man. If you ask me what looks worse, losses to 2 ranked teams or losses or wins by unranked teams, you want to try and balance it out, but they haven't. But again, they don't, like you said, they have no signature win. Who's the one team that you could say that shows that they were a good team? They lost to the 2 good teams they played.
Correct, Utah. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, it's crazy. They belong in the college football playoff as much as the little league team playing up the street from my house.
Right.
I mean, they don't belong in the college football playoff. No. It's total stupidity. Hopefully, it works itself out by the end of the year. All right, K-Mac, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, man, good seeing you guys. I'll see you next week.
We'll see you.
All right, bud.
Yep, we'll see you next week. Thanks, man. Pinellas Canes, he's been a Canes fan since '82. You can honestly say the Canes have never had a player with Malachi Toney's skill set. They've had guys with his skill set as a receiver, but a skill set where he's a receiver and he can throw the ball at the level he can throw. Though, man, he missed that one pass the other day, but he's a unique player. He's an exciting, very unique player, and he's starting to command a lot of attention, which is opening things up for other guys. So if you're going to double Malachi, you're leaving things open for somebody else. Jennifer Miller's back saying she wants Jordan Lyle. He's too valuable to lose. Stop writing off this guy. The problem, Jennifer, is that he probably got a little out of shape and didn't come back. He was hurt, and he probably didn't come back in the type of shape he was in over the summer. And he's not as fast as he can be, and he's having a really rough time right now. And you've got other backs. You got Pringle, who has stepped up, and you can't pay everybody. Okay, so you got to pay Fletcher, you got to pay Pringle. Marty Brown is coming back. You know, what do you do with Jordan Lyle? He doesn't want to be the third or fourth team back. And you got to pay these guys, and you know, Jordan Lyle's probably got a decent NIL deal for this year. He was the starting back against Notre Dame. Yep. You can't pay everybody in that room, and so I got to think that they're going to let Jordan Lyle go to the portal. Bruce, I would be shocked if he's back next year. And it's not that he's not a good player. He is a good player. But
unless he loses a little weight, and he works himself into
he
great
will.
shape. He shows it in the spring.
He will do that. Right. But then what? Now, okay, let's say he's done that. Now it's August. Now what? So now you got him and Fletcher sitting there battling it out, and then you got Pringle, who has to play. I mean, he's
Brown was very good.
And you still have Marty Brown sitting there.
Right.
Now you're gonna what? You're gonna make Marty Brown the fourth team back?
I don't think you can. He's very multi-dimensional too.
Yeah, so it's just a crowded situation, and probably the best and most fair thing to do for Jordan Lyle is let him go be the number one back somewhere.
Right.
And he and his handlers can figure out where that is.
Right.
But
it's not a question of us dumping him. It's a question of what's in his best interest for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
We are definitely not doping Jordan Lyle. Like I said, he was the number one back.
And he earned it.
And he earned it. Yes, he definitely did earn it. He looked great in spring practice. He looked great, and he looked great in training camp. And he absolutely did learn it. I mean, did earn it.
Lofton, but look what's going on with him. He looked spectacular in the spring. It's all we talked about. He's a running back. He's this. He's a tight end. He's an H back. We could split him out wide, but it hasn't worked out. And his blocking's not good.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it for tonight for CaneSport Live. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, everybody. And those of you that are watching the show now that weren't on in the first hour, the podcast will be up. You'll be able to watch what you missed. Really good show all night long, and that's thanks to the participation of everybody in the chat and who came on the show, and we appreciate it. Program note, tomorrow night, same time, 8:00, we've got the Lamar Thomas show. That's always a fun couple hours. So make sure you come back tomorrow night and check that out. But for now, for Bruce and Matt Shodell, I'm Gary. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time, everybody.